Ah, yeah. Shalom, shalom, shalom. I know everybody should have got a good workout on Guy. Boy, I remember back in the day that was all those songs were always on at house parties and family reunions, okay? And if you are black, you know what I'm talking about. There are certain songs you play at house parties and family reunions. Okay, it's good that y'all are here. We got a lot of topics to talk about today. I'm going to post the link for anybody that wants to come on the panel. Let me get the link for you. All right. It's going to be a couple of things we're going to talk about. I think we're all going to enjoy the topics that I have set for today. Things are happening so fast. I probably can have a whole new set of topics by the weekend. That's how fast it's going. Hey, BO9263. It's good to see you. Dark Void, what's up? Wow, I'm so glad y'all are here. Use the link, anybody that wants to join the panel. It's always fun to have people up here. Hi, S. Wiseman. I see all the people still coming in. 777, what's up? Yeah, you're right, 777. Those are songs you sweat to. Yeah, you don't want to sit down. You just want to keep dancing. It's just like Jamaica. You know, when you go to Jamaica, they keep you dancing all night. They keep you on your feet dancing all night when you go to Jamaica. All right, the panel is open for anybody that wants to come on. There's some fun topics for us to talk about. Come on board. Okay. I will open up the floor. Anybody that wants to join me, even after I start the stories that I have pulled up, just feel free to jump on the panel. Don't let me sit here and babble all by myself, okay? Come on and join me. Come on and join me, y'all. All right. Now, y'all know about the immigrant children that they have separated from their parents. Let me go ahead and share my screen. That's one thing I have to do. Let's see here. So you can see these topics. Okay. All right. I hope you can see that. Let me just pull this up on my Android here to make sure it can be seen by all. Let's see here. Okay, let me get to my videos here. Yeah, all right, you can see it. It's clear. Make sure I have my volume down. That way we don't get all that feedback. Hey, 34 Jazzy, welcome. I'm posting the link again. Come and join me. Okay, the first topic, I hope you can see this because this was so nasty. You know, there are some people that think Melania is abused by Donald Trump. You know, she's in a bad relationship. Don't feel sorry for this bitch. Okay, don't feel sorry for her. Now, she is boarding a plane to see the immigrant children that are being held, um, what we call concentration camps. They are being held and separated away from their children, just like Hitler did when he had the concentration camps. I want you to see this jacket that she wore and got on the plane with, y'all. The jacket in the back says, "I really don't care. Do you?" She actually wore this jacket boarding a plane to go see the immigrant children. Okay? This is what she chose to wear. Now, yeah, we already know they don't give a fuck. We know they don't give a fuck. That's why they got the kids locked up. But yeah, she's wearing a coat, and the back of the coat says, "I really don't care. Do you?" And this is what she chose to wear on her way to visit these kids that have been separated from their parents. So, this is to all of you Latinos out there that like to hate on Black people. But see, you don't recognize your real true enemy. You have an inability to do that. But you want to come and hate on Black people and kill Black people and do all this shit, firebomb houses out there in California where Black people live. But see, when you are confronted with your real true enemy, you ain't about shit. But this is what she wore. And she got on the plane. You can see her in the pictures getting off the plane. But this is what her sneaky ass did when she got off the plane. Check this out. She made sure she removed the jacket when they landed. But this is the woman, this same woman, listen, took up the cause of bullying, cyber bullying. And she is married to the biggest cyber bully on earth. But she made it very clear she really truly don't care. You don't wear shit like that and you claim you care. That was nasty. All right. But this is what she looked like coming off the plane. But this is what she looked like going on the plane, wearing a jacket that says, "I really don't care. Do you?" You know, don't ever believe that these people are genuine about anything. She is just confirming the fact that these motherfuckers can never be trusted. That's all she's doing. She's confirming it for us. So there should be no more confusion about whether these people give a fuck or not. They don't care. They don't care. And what kind of attire is that for a first lady to wear? That is so fucking unprofessional. What kind of first lady puts on some shit like this and walk around with it? And you are the first lady of the country. You don't see nobody else on this earth that's a world leader and their wives are wearing some shit like this. It just solidifies never trust these people ever. Don't ever trust them. And when you see stuff like this, you have to wonder how often do they do shit like this when they're not around Black people. We already know they go in blackface and do all kinds of derogatory things, but this just proves how disingenuous these folks really are. Trump do not care about these motherfuckers no more than he cares about us. He don't care about us either. But now you know. I really don't care, do you? And then go put on a fake front in front of these kids that she knows she don't give a fuck about. But hey, these are the people they wanted in the White House. All right. Now let's get to the good juicy shit. Let's get to that good shit, y'all. Fewer births than deaths among whites in majority of U.S. states. And I'm sure many of you know Benevolent Flower. If you are out there, thank you for sending this story. Yes, the last time, ladies and gentlemen, was 17 states that whites were dying more than they were giving birth. It is now up to 26 states in the US where white people are dying more than they are giving birth. So that's over half of the country now. All right, I'll wait while y'all go run this, go get the champagne. Let me know if you need time, y'all. Let me know. I'll stop the live stream and give you some time to get that popcorn, that champagne, the wine, and anything else you need. Go get your shit. I'll wait. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is now 26 states where deaths have surpassed births in the US. And here are the states right here. If you can see that on the screen. "26 states now, and they are now admitting that their deaths are going so fast that they may be the minority before 2045. I say they are now. I'm not buying that they're the majority now. You know how the numbers are. All right, let me go see who's joined me. Let me stop this. Hi, Katie. What's up?
Hi, Lisa. How you doing?
What do you think about this news that these Caucasoids are now dying more than they're being born in 26 states?
Hey, I see my state on there, so I'm gonna go pop some champagne, baby. Woo-hoo!
Woo! Woo! Yeah, baby. Yep. And guess what? My state of New Jersey is on there.
Yay! Please, please, please. Woohoo!
Woo, y'all. And when I went earlier in this article, it says the reason why they are dying more rapidly than expected is because of drug overdoses. So the fact that these folks are elderly, because the last biggest population among the Caucasoids are the elderly. And between the old people dying in the drug overdoses, it has accelerated their deaths in 26 states. And the demographer that did the research on this said it's going so fast, it's alarming. Okay, Brenda, come on and jump on the panel. I'll post the link again if you need it. Hold on, let me see if I can. I'll post the link again. There you go. Anybody that wants to join myself and KD.
I just want to say congrats to all the Caucasoids popping all their pills because they making us superior, baby. Woohoo!
Yes. All right. Anybody else that want to join? Because there are several articles on this. This one is in the New York Times. And I found another one that was dated for the 20th. Both of them are dated the 20th. Most U.S. states now have fewer births than deaths among whites. So, welcome.
Hey, this is J Dog.
Hey, J Dog, what's happening?
I'm on the bus right now, so I'm going to mute myself, so I'm glad I could join in.
All right. All right. Anybody else that want to join, please join. But okay, so this is another one that came out on Newsmax, same date as the one from the New York Times. So you can see these articles are coming out, and it says right here, a new report found Deaths now outnumber births among white people in 26 states in the country, up from 17 only 2 years earlier. Show that. Oh, you want to see the map again? Hold on. I'll get back to the map. Let's go to the map. There you go. Here's the map. And my state is on the map. KD said his state is on the map. American Eagle, don't come trolling here. Don't come trolling here.
Hey, you got a troll going on over there, Lisa?
Yeah. American Eagle 27, why are you trolling the channel? But we don't come seeking you out. Y'all keep coming to seek us out. What's up? Let's see who's on the panel. Hi, Nicole.
Hello.
Hi, Brenda. Welcome, welcome.
Hey, Lisa.
What's up, girl? What do you expect this next?
Hey, I'm just
Hello,
just
how
wanted
you
to tell
doing?
sorry about that.
That's
Hey,
okay.
Hello, Nicole and Brenda. How y'all queens doing today?
Hey, King KD.
Brenda,
Hey.
what do you think of this news?
How y'all doing?
How you doing? What do you think about this article on the deaths that are exceeding the birth?
I see the state that I used to live in, California. California in the house. Yeah.
Hey, Lions Den.
Hey, Lions Den.
Hey everybody. Hey,
Hey,
fam,
what do
how's
you-
it going?
Lions Den, what do you think about this news?
Hey, how you doing?
Well,
I live
Lisa,
in Virginia.
I'm telling you like this, Lisa.
Yeah.
Both Arkansas and Maryland, both Arkansas where I'm from and Maryland where I am, is the two states listed. Which I'm excited about.
All right. Yay.
My state ain't listed.
All right. There's somebody, not a background noise.
Yeah, I'm excited about it too. I'm in Cali, so you know I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
Might be me 'cause
With
I'm
all
on
the
the
bodies
bus.
out here, they can't keep up with them.
All right. Put yourself on
They're
mute.
having problems. Okay, hold on.
Not you, huh? Not you. I don't think it's you that have that background. There's somebody with background noise. Okay, it's gone now.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was saying hey Lisa, hey everybody.
What's up?
Oh, I am so happy. You saw me giving shots to everybody.
Yeah, right?
Everybody in the chat room. I'm like, I noticed it because they're having problems keeping up with the bodies out here.
Yeah,
And they try to make it seem like it's all gang related. I'm like, no, the gang is the opioid gang.
it is.
That's what it is.
And it says as clear as day, because of the drug deaths, their deaths in these states are accelerated. So now you got this elderly population that is inevitable. They're going to die. And now you got the young dying simultaneously from the drugs.
Right.
You know, so there is no damn way they can control this mess, especially the way they're doing it, calling it a public health issue, and nobody goes to jail and all. You can't handle no drug addiction problem like that. It doesn't.
Yeah, because if you notice the years ago they had commercials about how we need to be more careful about it was for them, it wasn't for us. They would have commercials of kids going in their parents' medicine cabinet, stealing drugs and stuff, and be aware that your kids can take the drugs. Notice those commercials are gone now.
Yeah, but you know what? You bring up a good point. You know what's been happening in New Jersey, and it made the paper. It was last year that you know how you have your house up for sale and you let people come in and just do a walkthrough in your house. Now folks are doing a walkthrough and going through your medicine cabinet.
Oh,
there's a lot of people in New Jersey, and I'm sure this is going on all over the country, that had people walk through their houses and they had opioids in their bathroom cabinet or in their medicine cabinet, and it went missing.
Oh, dang.
That's what a lot of them are doing now.
You know, that's their nature, scavengers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, this what happened.
Water Sniper, yes, the states that are in blue are the ones that have the high number of white deaths.
Well, this what happens when you don't punish your drug users like they
Right.
did to the crack epidemic, mainly because they were African Americans or Latinos. But when it becomes to the white drug users and dealers, they don't punish them, so they think they can get away with it. The only problem is when they don't think they don't get punished, they're gonna keep doing it until they die off, or then eventually that's what's happening.
Yeah. You know, Appalachia, the Appalachian states, West Virginia, Ohio, Pennsylvania, they said is exceptionally bad. They are just dying in such high numbers through those states. But
Yep.
the thing is now meth is being dropped in these same locations where they're having the highest amount of opioid deaths, and now that's going over the top.
And let's not forget, drug deaths ain't the only thing they're worrying about. They gotta worry about the mass shooting deaths, going to prison and dying. Let's see what else. The suicide rate, the accidents, the amount of accidents they get into that are deadly, diseases like diabetes, cancer that they're suffering from.
Man show, welcome.
So
You
yeah,
can join the panel if you like. Let me
so
put you there.
see, it's
Oh,
bad
hey,
enough.
Lionsden.
I'm just gonna say one thing. I never thought I'd root for Caucasoids in one thing, but as far as them taking opioids, go Caucasoids!
Woo, man. You
Yeah,
know,
that's why I did that video earlier about it, because I was like, you know, they've done the studies. See, they still have this high IQ, right?
oh please.
But they can't even look up the
I mean,
studies that their own
fake
people have done about
IQ.
them.
Well, they
You
are
know,
aware of it, but they don't want anybody talking about it, y'all.
Hey,
right?
don't call it the high IQ. Call it the fake IQ.
Well, first of all,
That's
that test ain't worth a pile of dog doo-doo. You know that. First of all, they had to revise it multiple times. And number two,
hmm
the reason why they had to keep revising it, believe it or not, when that test was first given, Black people actually passed it and they failed. So what they did was they kept revising it over and over and over until they were able to pass. And guess how they could pass? They had to make the test all Caucasian before they could even pass the
Right.
damn thing. Now, have America ever been an
Mostly for
all
the English part.
country? Okay, so don't even
Mhm.
pay attention to them and that old shitty ass test. And that test ain't worth a pile of toilet paper.
Lisa, let me ask you the next question. If they have the high IQ test, then why is the highest college rate of graduates are you guys, Black females?
Not only that, you know who are the smartest in these colleges and get the top grades? Nigerians.
So
Right.
Africans,
Nigerians. Okay, it's not even
Right.
them.
Right.
so
You're right about
Africans,
that.
Africans
Because
are
and they go to college earlier too.
Yes. When those Africans come over here, they're already performing intellectually way better than these white people are.
Yeah,
Hey
that is
Lisa,
true.
But Lisa,
Statistically.
you got to remember that the ones that come over here usually come from families that have money.
Exactly. Because I had a friend from Sierra Leone, and
Yeah,
his family were into politics in that country. And they had a lot, they were well to do.
exactly. They're children of doctors and lawyers. Yeah, they're people with money. So
Yeah, they are. And that's why many of them, when they come here from Sierra Leone and Nigeria, they already got connections here in the U.S.
hey Lisa. First of all, have some of y'all been getting any notifications of any of my videos? Because there was a couple that I actually want to talk about just now that I did.
I get them on and off, but that is with everybody. Hi, B Miles.
Well, here's a couple I wanted to talk about. One was about a kid, a black kid, who graduated high school and college on the same day, and another one was a kid who got a degree at a university. He's only 11 years old,
Yeah,
black.
kids like that, J Dog. You know, that's why they spend K through 12 trying to sabotage our kids. But don't you believe for one moment our children are advanced. Our children are advanced. That's why they got white females just completely permeated in all of these black schools because they know we are very advanced and so are our children.
And then let's not forget the sexual incidents that's been happening by those kind of teachers. I actually did another video on one about a teacher in North Carolina who got in trouble for speaking with a student. They never mentioned the gender or even the race or orientation of the student.
But you know what's so funny about that, J Dog? Many of these white teachers that are sleeping with their students are married and have children.
Well, it looks like someone, either the father, the husband, or wife, is not doing it in the bed.
Well, hey, Ayapo. What's up, brother?
Hey, brother Ayapo, how are you?
The thing is, you know, just like that black teen that ran off with his white teacher, he came back home. Do you know her black husband said she was actually married to a black man? He said he couldn't believe this. I said, see, that's why she's playing your ass, because you don't want to believe nothing.
Dang, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I'm now just 3 seconds ago. I'm now just knowing that.
yeah, and guess what? When I used to work out in corporate America, there was a white woman and a black man on my job. Both of them. Well, I don't think he was married, but she was. She was married and had kids. You know, she was going to his apartment after work, telling her husband she was working overtime and she was sleeping with him. And then one day, they went off during lunch to have sex, came back to work, and her husband came in the lobby for her and she kissed him right in the mouth.
Oh, hell no.
Okay, so
some
that's
nasty
disgusting.
And you
That
know
is
what the worst
disgusting.
part is? She had sucked him off too. And she went right in that lobby like it was nothing and kissed her white husband in the mouth. I said, you know what? I don't even feel sorry for them. They're getting what they deserve.
Wait. Was the guy black?
Yeah, the one she was cheating with, yes, he was black.
Well,
And
that's
this was
10
a
times
white-
better than kissing a dog
Yeah.
in the mouth.
And she was married to a white man, but she was sleeping around with a black man on the job. And let me tell you, a lot of these white women be cheating because I worked around them and they used to tell me. One told me she was married for 30 years and had her boyfriend for 13 years. They cheat a lot. You know, but they put Becky up on the pedestal like she does no wrong. And we know that's a load of bullshit.
That's why you see in the porn industry a lot of fantasies with a lot of the porn stars of all races, all the female porn stars with all races thinking about getting with the black guy, and even this thing called cockhole, where the white or Asian is a slave to the woman, and she is cheating with the black man in front of their slave husband.
Yeah, they've been doing that for centuries, though, J Dog. That's a turn on for them, and that's weird. But that's their bullshit.
You know, I just thought of something. T-shirt idea. That map would make a wonderful T-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Just the image of that map. Put that on the front.
I live in Virginia, so
No, you can put it on the top of the map on the T-shirt. Have it on the front, and at the top have got meth.
Uh-huh. Yeah, you know.
That's what you put on it. That would be so funny. I just thought of that.
But yeah, you know, all these things are happening and they're just staying totally quiet. Now, this is an article that came out, this next one that I'm showing you. White overdose deaths 50% higher than blacks. 167% higher than Hispanic.
Whoa! Wonder why they want to get rid of deport them. Wonder why they want to deport them and kill us.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So there is no doubt they are dying out faster than everybody. There's no doubt about it.
Yep, that's why they're deporting the Hispanics and killing the black. But the bad news is they're dying off faster than they can deport them and kill us, and we're still increasing. Both the Hispanics and us are still increasing in births.
Yeah, we never stop. There is never, like I said, I did my family tree, and at no point in time did black people stop reproducing. We have always produced more than the ones that died among us. There is not one century, one decade where we flatlined. It never happened. So, and then keeping that in mind, there's no possible way we are 13% of the population. They're taking us for a bunch of damn fools.
Let's just say the reproducing of both the black and Hispanics are so high, even gays are having children. That's how high the reproducing of both our races is doing, and the declining of the Caucasian race.
Yeah, yeah. So they think they're talking to a bunch of dummies, but we know we ain't no damn 13% of the population. This is their attempt to try to keep themselves in charge by making you psychologically believe you're this little teensy group and they're this big giant group, which there's no damn way that's possible. No
way. I live in Northern Virginia. We are a diverse community, but I'm starting to see a lot more of me and more Hispanics and Arabs over here up in Northern Virginia. I'm not far from Maryland.
Yeah, information man. He said, I always thought that was a lie. How the hell can we be 13% of the population and stay at the rate? You're right. We couldn't. And as I stated before, information man, I have an uncle that's in his 70s. And he said when he was in elementary school, they were saying we were 13% of the population back then. And he said, there's no way in all these years that he's been alive, we've been sitting at 13%. It's not possible.
Well, one thing is when the census start coming, we need us black people need to start doing the census. Now let's really make them mad.
You know what? We really don't need it. The bottom line is they're the only ones that are declining in this country are them. And that's why they got Trump in office. They got their cops doing all this crazy shooting of everybody out here. It's not going to do them any good in the long run. But how is that going to stop people from reproducing?
It's not.
It's not. Everything that they're doing is completely counterproductive.
Not to mention, even though we got fertility clinics, I mean, Caucasians ain't the only ones that are using fertility clinics. See, we got that too.
Well, yeah, the only other ones that are really declining in a big way are the Asians. The Asians are declining fast as well.
Well, that's what happens when you make laws where it's one child and the boy is the favorite.
Yeah, they're paying the price for it now because the men clearly outnumber the women, and now there's not enough women to go around to marry the men because they did that. So that's their problem. Asia, these people claim they're smarter than everybody, and look at the things they do. They damn near sabotage themselves.
Well, ain't that why I see some Asian women trying to go with black men too? This is one guy.
You're muffled.
Yeah, they're all going to come running to black men. I mean, even in the Bible, it said in the last days they're going to be cleaving on to us. So yeah, they're going to be coming for the black men. They're going to be coming for the black women, and it's going to be a lot of it's going to be out here.
Well, maybe if they start trying to push the gay agenda, maybe we'll start being in more heterosexual relationships with them if they stop pushing the gay agenda.
You know what? All we got to do is keep ourselves away and not
Something
get
else.
involved. Okay, I hear a lot of background noise. Mute yourself.
Hey, J-Dog, I want them to keep going.
I'm on an iPhone with using headphones, so and I'm inside a mall.
Okay. All right, I'm just hearing a lot of background noise.
It must be someone's YouTube channel. I think.
Yeah,
I think
I don't know.
someone. Yeah, I think someone is watching this on their computer, but has not muted their sound because I'm on my iPhone, only on the Google Hangout, and I'm inside a mall.
Okay, yeah, 'cause there's
I'm actually waiting for someone. I'm waiting for my.
all right.
Yeah, I hate when stuff like that happens.
All right.
J-Dog, I don't want them to stop. I want them to keep going.
Oh
I
my
said,
God.
this is destroying each other.
Okay, you're breaking up real bad, KD. What did you say?
Hanging up.
What I was saying was, I don't want to stop.
Hey, I gotta do something real quick, so I'm about to leave. I'll come back if I just save the link on the description box or give me an email if you want me to come back. I gotta do something real quick.
Okay. All right.
Oh wait, I still hear you.
Okay. Well, I still hear the background noise, so I don't know what that is. Okay. Now, the next story, some of you might have heard, there was another shooting of a Black teen in East Pittsburgh. The officer, he killed a teen by the name of Antoine Rose. Let's see. I think there's a picture of Antoine here. Here he is right here. Okay. It's your typical police shooting that we know about all the time. But there's a news story here. Let me see if I can refresh this, play the video here.
Hey, it looks like I'm still here. It looks like when I
A
I can still be on the
All right, hold on,
computer.
hold on.
killed by police.
This happened last night in East Pittsburgh, and there are a lot of questions this evening, including whether the shooting was justified and who will make that determination. John Delano found some answers and has them.
When a police officer shoots someone, even if they've been involved in a crime in a neighboring community, as has been alleged here, Allegheny County homicide detectives step in.
Accordance with police
In the back.
in the aftermath of officer shootings,
I'm gonna go walking around the mall for a while. Wait,
homicide detectives were requested to assume the role of independent
All right.
investigatory agency.
Okay. I'll catch you later.
Attorney Stephen
I'm on a hangout too, but I'll catch you later.
All right, I can hear your conversation. Hold on.
All right.
All right, y'all, hold on. All right, I'm going to start this over. Please put yourself on mute. All right.
We continue our coverage of today's headline story. A 17-year-old high school senior was shot and killed by police.
This happened last night in East Pittsburgh, and there are a lot of questions this evening, including whether the shooting was justified and who will make that determination. John Delano found some answers and has them. New at 6.
When a police officer shoots someone, even if they've been involved in a crime in a neighboring community, as has been alleged here, Allegheny County homicide detectives step in.
In accordance with police best practices in the aftermath of officer-involved shootings, Allegheny County Police Department homicide detectives were requested to assume the role of independent investigatory agency.
But it's really up to District Attorney Stephen Zappala to determine whether the shooting of Antoine Rose was justified or not.
That officer has the same rights as any other citizen.
Sources tell me that the East Pittsburgh officer in his 20s has been on duty in East Pittsburgh for just 3 weeks and was sworn in about 90 minutes before the actual shooting, although he's been an officer since 2011.
What I think the community is reacting to right now is a horrible video showing that a young man who absconded from a traffic stop was shot in the back by a police officer.
Beth Pittenger with the City Police Review Board, which has no jurisdiction in this case, says there are lots of unanswered questions.
We have to have the patience to allow the Allegheny County homicide detectives to do their job.
State law allows deadly force in an arrest only when the officer believes such force is necessary to prevent death or serious bodily injury to himself or others, or when force is necessary to prevent an escape and the person to be arrested has committed a forcible felony, or he's attempting to escape and possesses a deadly weapon, or he will endanger others if not arrested right away.
As the investigation progresses, we'll provide the district attorney's office with our findings for his review.
No word on how long that will take. John Delano, KDKA TV News.
Now, once again, if somebody is running away from you, how the hell are they that much of a threat?
They're not. They're not a threat.
No.
But yeah, if I understand if someone was actually trying to kill you with a knife or trying to shoot at you, but they're running away maybe because they were trying to get away from danger and stuff like that. Maybe the cop should have thought about that before she started shooting at the individual. But then again, these race soldiers, these racist cops, they don't think that. Their job is just kill us.
Right. You know, nobody should die in a traffic stop, y'all. Nobody should die in a traffic stop. I don't care what anybody say. The only thing they should be doing is ticketing people and sending you on your way.
Or sending you to the court.
Gun, you know, first of all, why are they so quick to go to a gun during a traffic stop?
I think they're so desperate to get rid of us and kill us. I think they see that they're dwindling in numbers, so they just have to kill us as soon as possible, because I guess they think that they're going to be the majority again if they kill all of us, if they deport all of us.
Don't you know the police code? The police code is any black person running away from you is a threat. Okay?
Right.
That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Any black person running away from you is a threat, and you are to shoot and kill. This is what these people are about.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, everything about them from the beginning all the way up until now, present day, kill, kill, kill. Even if somebody is not even a clear damn threat, and if somebody is running away from you, that's not a threat. Okay?
Yeah, a 12-year-old kid playing with a toy gun is a threat.
Yeah.
You know?
Everything about us is a threat. If we walk by black, we're a threat. If we drive while black, we're a threat. Okay.
That's right. You got a busted tail.
Walking down the street, you're a damn threat. Every damn thing's a threat.
Busted tail light, you're a threat.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're a threat to their supremacy.
Unbelievable.
But you can shoot up a school, you can shoot up a theater, you can shoot up a restaurant, you can go around bombing people, you can shoot everybody up in mass, and they take
and you're mentally challenged.
And they take you in because you're mentally challenged. But
that's right.
But we die in a traffic stop.
Yes.
Well, I'm going to tell you a story about something that happened to me. I recently had hip replacement surgery. So I was crossing the street and a car stopped so that I could get across the street. And then way off in the distance was a police car coming, but I had plenty of time to get across the street. So I'm walking to where I live. A police car rolls up on me. The policeman jumps out the car and starts giving me shit for walking across the goddamn street. Okay? I was walking while black with crutches. Okay, how fucking ridiculous is this?
Yeah, I know.
And I said to him, "Are you going to arrest me for walking while black with crutches?" And he said, "Oh no, I'm not. But you know, if you had gotten here, it'd be your responsibility." I said, "Please, just get out of my face."
Oh God.
Yeah, that is crazy. That's
crazy. That's crazy. Walking while black with crutches. Remember that, okay?
Well, apparently we can't do anything in this skin. You know, they've made it illegal just to be black, just to be ourselves.
Goddamn ridiculous. I mean, this man should have offered me a goddamn ride, but no, he's going to jump out his car and start giving me a bunch of shit.
Well, you know what it is, Brenda. They are looking for soft targets. That's what they're doing. See, they're looking for the kind of black people that are walking along unarmed, can't fight back, and target.
That's right. I mean, there's no way in hell that I could hold a gun and use crutches at the same fucking time. I mean, this is some crazy shit.
It is.
They won't, surprisingly, they're not going after people with actual guns. They're not going after Crip and Blood members.
No. See, they're not going after the gangbangers in the neighborhood. They don't care if they stay out there. They're killing us. They don't care.
Just remember, people, walking while black with crutches. That's a goddamn felony offense.
Presently, there are several states that are training civilians training them for like the next school year so that they can go in and monitor the halls and so on and so forth. And I guarantee you that young black children are going to start getting gunned down, even though we've never been the ones to ever shoot up any school or anything, because what'll happen is the same thing that happens with cops.
That's
and
what I said.
Feeling like their life is in danger, and they'll be gunning down our children.
That's why when they first came out with the stories, Brother Ayapo, on arming teachers, I said no. I did a video on this. I said no, because the teachers will start using the same excuses that the cops use. I feared for my life, and your kid ain't gonna come home, and you'll be wondering, where the hell is my child?
Oh God.
Exactly. So that's why they need to start getting these kids to black schools or homeschooling immediately.
I can't afford to homeschool. I have a kid who's just starting elementary school, so that scares the hell out of me.
Yeah, I tell you what, if my son was still real little and in school, and they tell me the teacher's armed, I would have a problem with that. You know, look, we already see how law enforcement functions within the black neighborhood. We don't need the teachers to pile on and start going after our kids.
Well, Lisa, they need to throw away this garbage called diversity. We all know that's a dead thing now.
Yeah. There's no reason for them to have the kind of contact with our children, especially if you know you don't have the best interests at heart. But you know, the bottom line is they can't keep sabotaging us unless they have access to our children.
Well, what do we do? Because nobody wants to leave America. So what do we do?
What you do is, you know, this is what I tell a lot of people that don't elect not to pull their kids. You got to make sure your kids are educated when they come home. I had to do that for a long time before I decided to pull my son out. Whatever his teacher taught, and I knew it wasn't right, I had to make sure he was educated and knew the correct history or knew the correct science. You know, that's what I had to do.
Right. My mom did the same thing because she's a science teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, she did that as well. And with history and everything, she was like, no, that's not right.
Yeah.
And she actually took us, like, especially during the summertime, she would take us to the different places like in Charleston and show us.
Mm-hmm.
And we would bring our books with us and she'd show us, look, this is wrong.
Yeah.
And she was, you know, there's no way to deny it because you're standing right there in front of a plantation. You know, how can you deny it, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And you know what the thing is, My dad was a math whiz, and he would sit me down, and when the teacher would show me how to do like division or, or even geometry a certain way, he was like, why is she showing you that way? This is much easier. And I'm telling you, every time he showed me how to do something, I always picked up on it faster. Every single time. And my history lesson, my Black history lesson was my mother. When I was little, we went to a cemetery down there in Irwin County, Georgia. In the front of the cemetery were the Black people that recently died. She took me way in the back, and we walked in the back, and those were the slave cemetery. The slaves were in the back. It was kind of hard to walk back there because the ground was kind of soft, but I was able to go back there and look at some of the headstones, and I have to tell you, I cried.
Yeah, I would have too.
Real. It made everything so real that this really happened. Our people really were enslaved. They really died. There were a lot of children in those graves, and it was adults, and some of them, it had right on their tombstone that they were hung to death. And I got through a few of the grave and looked at some of the stones, and I burst into tears. I was in tears by the time I got back in the car. But that was
Some of the names are like carved. It looked like they were carved.
Yeah.
Very rough, or like they were just roughly carved with a stick or something.
Some of the stones weren't bad, Nicole, because what they did, some of the families replaced the old headstones and got newer granite stones and stuff, things like that made for their family members. So some of them were clear to see. And then some were unmarked. They've been there, probably had a little wooden tombstone that just got dry rotted and crumbled. And it was something. I never felt that emotional being in a cemetery before. That was really the first time it really hit me.
Sister Lisa, and you can find those type of graveyards all over the United States.
Absolutely.
And because of that, we don't need a damn lynching memorial or museum. You can just go down the road and find some.
Exactly.
We need to put anything up to just to keep rubbing that memory in our face. If we want to go see it, we can find a place very easily to go see it on our own. That's more real because it's not beautified. It's not made to look, fancy or have a gift shop in it and all this different stuff. You go and see it in its raw form.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait a minute. Somebody wants to create a lynching museum?
Oh, honey, it's already up.
What?
It's already up.
That is so bad for our mental health. Nobody wants to see that.
See,
that's why they're doing it, because it's bad for our mental health.
Problem.
That lynching museum is for white folks. That's not for us.
Right. That's not for us.
It's for them to get their rocks off that. Look at all these niggers we killed. How is that going to make us feel good?
They're killing themselves. They're shooting themselves up. They're overdosing. They're committing suicide. They're killing themselves, but they're still finding gratification in our death.
Yeah, they're getting drugged up with opioids.
How about an opioid memorial? How about an opioid memorial, y'all?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, that's what we really need. But wait a minute, where is this damn museum?
Hold on, let me pull it up. I'm going to pull it up and then share my screen. Hold on.
Okay. That is some crazy shit. That's unbelievable.
That's demonic. That is so demonic.
Yeah. Because it ain't none of us up in that museum. It's all of
Just imagine what they do there after hours.
Oh,
Imagine.
yeah.
Halloween, imagine what they do there, different dates. It's crazy.
Share. Sent to everyone. See if I can get over there.
Yeah, I try to keep up what's going on in my native land, but I had this first time I heard about this.
Oh, it's disgusting. And this is my problem. It seems like every time they want to give us something, it's always some shit connected to slavery, as if there is nothing else in America we ever did.
Right.
Fuck out of here. That's what pisses me off more than anything. It's like, oh, well, y'all were slaves. Fuck you. Fuck you. If that's the only thing you got to show me, fuck you.
Did you hear about that guy? I think it's in South Carolina, North Carolina. They're apologizing for the slave trade. I seen it.
That was in Charleston.
Yeah.
It was in Charleston. You know, my grandmother got a invitation to come to some kind of ceremony there because, yeah, they lived there. My mother was born in Charleston, and my grandmother worked at the Navy Yard. My grandfather as well, and so they gave her, I guess, because she's retired from there, they gave her a invitation to come for some kind of ceremony, and she threw it in the trash. She was like, "Really?
Yeah.
This is some bullshit."
I
Like,
don't know
really?
either. Your mom got some sense.
Well, my grandmother got the invitation. My grandmother was like, "Why would I go to this? This
Yeah,
is ridiculous."
seriously. Why would you go to some
You
shit
know?
like that? You know, that's why I don't even go to see slave movies anymore. I did back in the day, but I don't go because that's all they want to shove down our throats. And I'm done with that. If you're going to make a black movie and it's all about slavery all the time, you can take it and shove it up your ass.
Well, thanks for showing this picture. First of all, I would never go to Montgomery, period.
Montgomery, Alabama. Yeah.
You couldn't take my dead black ass there if you tried. Well, maybe you could if I was dead. And then second of all, if I did happen to land in that godforsaken place, you would never see my ass in something called the Lynching Memorial and Slavery Museum. What kind of shit is this?
But this is the inside of it. And like I said, and then this is soil from lynching sites. Now, who the fuck wants to see jars of soil? Who the hell wants to see jars of soil from lynching sites? Who the fuck wants to see this?
Who came up with this stupid shit?
I don't know, y'all. Who's the
Brenda, Brenda, you already know who did. It's these damn cave beasts.
Yeah.
I want to
It could
know
be from their backyard. We don't even know. Like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah. Now, I don't know about you, but who the fuck wants to see jars of soil from lynching sites?
Jars of dirt.
Yeah.
Well, they use certain things with, the energy in it, like dirt and skin, hair, and they can use it for different ceremonies. And that's one thing. That's what I'm saying. You don't know what they do after hours.
Shit.
They're just nasty.
I bet you. Sorry.
I just hope some of them get locked up in there one night and all them jars jump off the shelves and bust them in the head.
I hear you, girl.
Hey, here's what I want to happen. Hey, maybe one day they end up being trapped there in the dark, like the one lady said, but then the evil the spirits of those slaves come in and haunt them and try to get them like the Conjuring.
Yeah. All right, somebody, people mute yourself because I can still hear a lot of chattering in the background.
What about the ghost of Khalid Muhammad? That'll do it.
That'll be good. Or the ghost of Nat Turner.
All right, please mute yourself. There's a lot of chattering in the background. All right, that's better. All right.
It was J-Dog. Remember, he's at the mall.
Okay. Information, man. He's hopefully he can come on with the link I just sent.
But just like I like to say, whenever you see things about serial killers, they always like keeping trophies so they can keep reliving that joy of what they did, of whatever sick obsession or sick thing that they did. They love to have trophies so that they can keep reliving it. And this is a freaking white man's wet dream. And I keep saying it, and I'm going to keep saying it. That's exactly what this is.
You are so right. This is disgusting.
Mm-hmm. And so they show, each state and county where the lynching and who was lynched.
Oh God.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Oh God. I mean, imagine if one of your ancestors was lynched and they got the name of your ancestor in some fucking lynching museum and their name is up on some, oh Jesus, this is so wrong.
Yeah. I'm sorry. This is not, you could put me right on the same highway with this museum and I would just go straight past it. I would have no desire to be in there to look at nothing.
Exactly. I would never go there. I'd never stop in that place. Oh God. I'm looking at these pictures. This is ridiculous. Now,
Oh no!
These
What?
are shirts.
What about coats?
Yes, these are shirts, bloodstained shirts.
Oh, God damn.
Yes, bloodstained shirts of those that were lynched.
What a surprise! 2 white people. What a surprise!
Oh, yeah. This is the worst goddamn museum I've ever seen in my life.
Why do they still have the shirts after all these years? Is the real question.
Yeah, that's right. They kept them. Yeah.
Brother Ayapo, did you know they had these bloodstained shirts?
I didn't know they had those shirts. My question is, and it's gonna sound like I'm making a joke, but my question is, what does their gift shop look like?
I don't know. But y'all, it gets worse.
Exactly. What the fuck would you buy in the gift shop of a lynching museum?
It gets worse.
Oh God. Oh Jesus.
These motherfuckers can kiss my ass.
Oh Jesus. This shit is so
What the
wrong.
hell?
That's so
Oh my
disgusting.
God.
Yeah, it is.
Oh my God.
And you know what? You know what the worst part about this, y'all? They fucking believe they gave us something.
Oh,
No, and we gave everything to them. We did all this labor here that made them rich as shit for free.
You want to give me something? Give me some reparations.
Yeah.
that's right. That's the only thing they should be giving us.
Now,
Now,
Oprah Winfrey actually did. Oprah Winfrey
Why are they there?
did a story on this.
Oh
I
my
didn't
God.
watch her
Really
story,
though?
but she actually did a story on this museum when it first opened.
That's Coon Oprah?
Yeah.
Oh goddamn. Oh.
And this is the outside. Now, why would you want to see a statue of a traumatized Black woman holding a baby?
Holding a baby. And,
Yeah.
and the man cleaned up.
I mean, the whole thing is just depressing. This is some bullshit here.
Yeah, that's what they're into.
You know,
They're
stop
into
building
that type of thing.
fucking museums. Give us some damn reparations and stop building this shit that nobody asked for.
I'm not gonna ask them for no reparations.
How many homeless people could they have taken care of?
How many of their own opioid victims could they have helped?
Right.
I mean,
they're so determined to hurt us that they won't even help themselves.
It gets worse, y'all. You think this statue looks horrific? Look at this one.
Oh no.
What's that?
What is that?
Arms reaching up.
Yeah.
What is that? Hands up?
Yeah.
Don't shoot. I don't understand.
I don't know, but these are some of the bronze statues that are around the lynching memorial.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah, they're buried in the ground.
Yeah.
Their head. They used to do stuff like that with babies. They bury the babies in the ground, just their head exposed, and then they'd go around and do like, what is it, croquet?
Yeah.
Oh,
and knock the heads off.
I don't even want to hear it. Oh.
What?
That was a sport for them.
What?
Yeah. I remember there was a doctor, Dr. J. Marion Sims. He used to, he would test the brain, test the skull integrity of newborn African babies. And I remember I did a video about it a long time ago, but he crushed the skulls of the babies with his hands.
Oh yeah. And
that's how he would test the integrity of the skull.
Yeah, that's disgusting. But yeah, they even got a little Klan section, y'all.
Oh my God.
They even got a little Klan section at the museum.
It was ridiculous.
And they got the news articles. You know how they used to come out like they were going to a country fair to watch our people die.
15,000.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my
yeah, they used to
time. They used to send invitations out after church services. You know, most lynchings in America took place after these demons went to church.
Right.
Sunday afternoon.
They would have picnics.
Yeah, they would do this.
Now that eagle symbol looks very familiar. That symbol looks like a Nazi
That looks like what's on
symbol.
on the flag.
This is a Texas newspaper.
Yeah, well, that's the American Eagle up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like a Nazi symbol too.
Well,
okay.
Yeah, and a friend of mine that used to live in Texas told me Waco, which is right here on this article, was a big location in Texas for lynchings.
Oh God.
I bought a car in Waco.
Wow. Here's the rest of that statue.
Dang,
right
Brenda.
here.
Whoa.
So they were lynching us and throwing our babies to crocodiles, alligators, and all this different stuff. And they want me to shed some tears because I'm looking at a few people crying on the border.
Yeah, and they keep telling us that we need to get over it. How are we supposed to get over this?
Right. I don't.
That's what I'm telling them.
Yapo, you know what the worst part is, and some of y'all may agree with me, some or may not. Don't even be surprised if a year or two down the line they try to compensate those Mexicans. All hell is going to break loose if that happens and we did not get reparations. That's all I'm saying.
Wait a minute, Lisa. They've already laid the groundwork for it now.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
They got all these lawyers that are just waiting in line to help them out. Yep, they're gonna get some money.
And they're gonna get money over us. I bet you that's already in the works.
My question is, what is it about the Black race that they just hate us so much to where they put everybody else above us?
Because they know who we are. They know what we're capable of doing. And number two, no matter how much they hate us, they can't live without us. They need us. We don't need them. They need us.
When they see us, they see their weakness. And that's why they hate us. We are the mightiest creatures on the planet.
So
and
why do they keep trying to kill us then?
Because they're inferior. If you are inferior and you see something superior, you try to get rid of it so that you can imagine that you are a superior being. And
they need us. But that's what I'm saying. But they need us though. So why would you keep killing off something that you need so badly to survive?
Well, the goal becomes to get you down to manageable numbers.
Right.
That's what the aim is.
See, they're coming down when they were 90-80% of the population. Then their aggressiveness goes down. They feel comfortable. But on the plantations, slaves outnumbered masters, outnumbered the white overseers, and they were very aggressive.
That's right.
Their numbers went up after World War II. Their numbers were down. Numbers went back up again around up towards Vietnam War. Numbers went down again. Numbers went up again, went back down after a Desert Storm. Went back up again, went back down recently, and they're going down more and more because of themselves. And they've always caused it on themselves, but they're really causing it on themselves now, and they know that they're reaching a point of natural decrease where they cannot reverse the problem.
No, and
so now they're being extra violent.
Yeah, see, you know what? Their scientists even said, even if they start having babies now, for the next 10 years, they would still never catch up to the Black and Latino population because they have fell so far behind. They can't even make up ground, even if they had babies for the next 10 years.
Yeah, those numbers are based on infant viability. Just because a baby's born doesn't mean it's viable. If you think of the movie 300, a baby, they would look at the baby and say, this baby's viable. They would keep it. The baby's not viable, they throw it off a cliff.
Yeah.
We don't do that in this culture. But in those cultures and in white culture, they kind of feel that way. They don't really care about their kids at all because a lot of them are on drugs.
Yeah, every white girl that I know that's pregnant now was pregnant by a minority.
Hey, same here.
I believe that. And you know what? There was this one story, and this guy actually came to live in New Jersey. He was down there in North Carolina, a Klansman, and he had a sister with Down syndrome. They told him to kill his sister.
No.
And he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do it. So what they did was they tried to break into his house and get the sister and kill her because in their opinion she should not be alive.
What?
And she was not
She's
normal.
not viable.
Yeah, so she
Right.
couldn't be alive. So he
Not viable.
essentially got kicked out of the clan. The whole family had to pick up and leave the state so they would not be killed. So yeah,
Right.
you feel that way even among each other. If they don't seem like they're normal or somebody that's, you know, with Down syndrome or retardation, they feel that they're not worth being here. They shouldn't be here.
Oh.
They'll leave him at a church. They'll leave him at a church or a fire station. You
Yeah.
know, women will just have the baby, just leave the baby at a church because they're like, this is not, you know, of me. It's of you, but they don't want to accept that it's of them.
Right.
You know, they don't want to accept that. They have a really, it's a schizophrenic, a paranoid. They're always paranoid about things.
Yes, they are.
You know, and they're just ratcheting it up more and more. We have to be ready. You know, we have to protect ourselves.
We do. Here's the thing, y'all. Here's the thing. You know, when I see stuff like this, in their mind, they think this is education for us. And it's not education. These lynching museums, and when they give us stuff, you know, stuff like this, they're educating us. And they're not really educating us at all. They're not educating them. But if you say something about this, the first thing they'll tell you is they're educating you. Do you need this? I don't know any Black person that needs this kind of education.
No, I don't. I have a grandpa that's 90 years old. His mother gave birth to him at 14. I know about slavery. I know about my family's history.
Me too.
I don't need them to tell me.
Well, this is not educating us. This is just traumatizing us even further.
Yeah.
You know, this is just inflicting pain. This is all this is about.
Yeah.
Because there's no way in hell that I could walk into a place like that and not feel physical pain at looking at that stuff.
Exactly.
Well,
That's Urugu. That is Urugu right there.
Go back to the gunning down of our people and the killing of our people. See, you have to look at it in terms of how the ecosystem works. When you have any species of animal, I'm not saying we're animals. I'm talking in terms of how of looking at how they handle the ecosystem. When you have any animal, whether it's coyotes or rabbits or whatever, and that population of animals seems to start getting out of control, what do? They open season on them. They extend the seasons on them to kill those animals off until they get down to manageable numbers. And guaranteed, we're number one, we're more than 13% of the population, and number two, it hasn't been spoken, but we're in season, and they've extended the season, and they're using cops and everybody else to just gun us down at will and with impunity. So that's their plan. In addition to things like Bill Gates running over to Africa and sterilizing the women over there, they're sterilizing our people.
Oh yeah,
GMOs to sterilize us and kill us, and all these different ways of trying to get our population down to manageable numbers. They're not fooling anybody.
Have any of you seen this before? Federal nigger hunting license.
Oh my God. Oh, the slave catchers, the police.
State of Missouri, nigger hunting license. You know where they used to get these? They used to get these at the state fair. Back in the day, they would have a state fair and they would give these out.
Oh my God.
But see, you just had that Becky that got fired because she was caught on video with them talking about we're going nigger hunting. And the thing is, people look at that and they take it like these guys were joking. They weren't joking.
They weren't joking.
They were not joking.
It really happened, y'all. They really gave these damn things out.
You know, I mean, every single day I see one more level of depravity from these people. Every single day. When I think that I've seen it all, nope, All I got to do is wake up, turn on the television. There's more. It's unbelievable what these people have done. This is unbelievable.
I mean, who sits around and thinks of shit like
Exactly. Exactly. Our people would never sit around and come up with some shit like this. Never. Because it's not part of our nature to be so low.
Excuse my language.
Yeah.
And that's why they're doomed. Because see, you know, the Bible says you will know the truth, and the truth will make you free.
Yes.
And they refuse to acknowledge the truth about who they are, where they are, what they are, and all that. Just like the opioid epidemic, just like these people, people running down everybody, they refuse to acknowledge who they are and what they are, and therefore they don't do anything about it. They don't do anything to stop it because of their denial. And
right. That's why you're
the-
right, brother. You're right. And see, this is why the ones that are living today are not off the hook. They'll sit there and say, I didn't have a slave. I didn't do that. Yeah, but you're keeping the goddamn system going. You're
That's
not
right.
Exactly.
You're not innocent.
Please,
like
family, I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I just was given an article where they are saying that they don't want to be called white anymore. That
Oh my God.
and they want to insist that people call them the people of light.
But they're not people of light.
Oh no.
Yes.
Oh, please.
That's not what they are.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but that's what they wind up doing. They always wind up just taking, you know, they destroy the definition with their actions, and then they want to give you a new word as if their actions are not what destroyed it in the first place. And they want to say, well, calling us white now is kind of like racist, when no, it's just you get
how is it racist? They were the ones
but that's the thing. Is every time we turn around, we say white man did this, white, so they're thinking it's racist now.
Well, who came up with it?
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't us.
So what are we gonna call him when we see him? This is a light man. What is?
No, we're gonna call them what they are.
Same
We're
thing they
gonna
call
call them demons, okay? Because that's what they are.
You could call them Caucasians. That's what they call themselves.
I don't care what kind of shit they come up with. Some stupid people of light. Hell, you can't even stay out in the sun. How in the hell are you going to be a person of light?
Well, Richard Spencer said they were the people of the sun. I was like, yeah, the people of the sun burn.
Exactly.
Right. People love the Dragon Balls. Well, who was the angel of light? I forget, Lisa. I forget.
Angel of
I
light.
can't remember who it was.
Like, he has no light in him. He carries it on the outside.
The angel of light is Satan.
There you go.
But that's what Lucifer means. Lucifer
Means light bearer.
First
That's
of morning,
right?
right?
The angel of light in the Bible is Satan. So they want you to call them Satan. Okay, I'll call them.
I'll do that. No problem.
Oh. Okay.
No problem.
Okay.
That was a quick translation, and I'm glad we're on point.
Yeah, you know.
We are on code.
Okay, I know this
Yes,
kind of
ma'am.
goes back. We're kind of like, I know we're past this topic, but have you guys heard about how white women are getting uterus transfers?
Yeah, from
I had a video about that too.
From
Yeah.
African
Womb
women.
transplants.
Yeah,
Yes.
from African women.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Why?
That was because it's a lot of them have, what is it called, the polycystic ovarian disease, PCOD.
Oh, too bad. That's too bad.
And I'm like, if y'all stop doing what y'all doing and sticking things in there, you'd be okay. But with all kinds of animals and stuff.
Yeah, right. And all that, because they're the ones that are pushing the gay agenda, and they're the ones that are sleeping with dolphins and dogs and anything. Well, you're not going to get pregnant with those things.
Yeah, but you might get infected. So,
Just let them keep rolling around in the dirt with dogs. Go ahead.
Like little pigs.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, if white people ever decide to start having sex with each other, there's going to be a whole bunch of dogs breathing a sigh of relief.
Ooh, I ain't never lied.
They'll never do that. They never say with each other.
777, there are videos of them talking about having sex with dolphins. Yes, dolphins. Dolphins. Yes.
Wow. Wow, that's incredible.
That's pretty pathetic. Even the sea creatures are getting raped.
Something is really not normal. Something is wrong. Like, for real.
No, well, they're not human. They're hybrids.
Yeah. And it's all biblical. That's what this is. So that
remember, Esau's seed was spoiled. Seed was spoiled in the womb.
Yeah.
Right. Experiment gone bad.
You know, so look, this is why our people got to stop trying to reason with them. You got to stop trying to reason with them. You're not going to reason with an animal.
Right.
And that's the biggest hang up our people. Oh, well, maybe I can educate them. And it's not up to us to educate them on racism.
Right.
It's not up to us to do that. We didn't start this shit.
Right. We didn't.
No, in fact, they noticed very well. They noticed very well.
Calcify.
What's that?
They noticed very. I said they noticed very well.
Yeah. No.
Why should you try to reason with somebody who knows what their ancestors did very well, but don't want to tell you about it?
Our people got to get out of this habit of thinking they are going to turn these hybrids around. You're not.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's been centuries of this shit. We should know better by now.
It's their culture. They know what they do. They know how they do it. And part of it is just thinking they have to coddle us, appease us, play mental games with us because they think, well, these people are stupid. So this is just what you do. And it's such a part of who they are that it's natural. That's why who had all those shirts in that museum hanging up? And where are all the severed penises? I know they still have those.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, that's right. They love to collect those.
Well, look, one of them had Nat Turner's skull on their shelf and finally gave it to his family about a year ago.
Oh yeah, and they had one of them had, I think it was a lampshade or something made out of Nat Turner's skin.
Somebody had a wallet and
wallet.
Some white man that had his skull on a shelf at his house.
Yep.
Here's the thing. They talked about Native American scalping people. They talked about black people being cannibals. They talked about black men being rapists. They talk about white women or black women being loose and all these different things. The thing about white people is that every single solitary negative thing they say about someone else actually pertains to them. 100% of the time, no exceptions.
It's called projection. Projection. That's what it is. They project all their evil shit on us.
Right.
And they have calcified pineal glands, so it doesn't help to talk to them anyway because there are actual physical reasons that they can't understand things or perceive the world in the same way that black people do or other people do.
Right. You know what? Even when I used to go to school, Brother Ayapo, I remember when the teacher would show us something and I would get it right away. And it had to be re-explained to them and re-explained and re-explained and re-explained before they even got it. I noticed that even back when I was in elementary school. You had to explain things to them in a much more detailed way that you don't have to explain it to other people.
Yeah.
Well, it's because they've been lied to all their lives. For thousands of years, they've lied about who they are and their history. So
right.
I heard from Dr. Africa, and peace and blessings, everyone. This is the first time I've ever been on your hangout.
Hello.
My sister.
How are you, Ajali?
Yeah. Dr. Africa said that physiologically they don't see all the colors that we see.
No.
We don't taste all the flavors that we taste.
That's true.
Are you serious?
No, it's true.
That's why so much sodium.
No. What our queen is saying is true. The more recessive the eye color, like the blue and the greens, they don't see colors as well as people with brown eyes. That's the Absolutely.
That's right. And they can't hear as well as we can.
They can't hear, and he's right. And they're
why
so
when they dance, they can't figure out where the goddamn beat is. Okay?
Yeah.
Can't figure out where it is.
See, that's why everything, and what the queen is right. She's right about their eyesight. That's why we had to go from this analog to digital, because they could no longer see well in analog. That's why we had to that's why everything switched over to digital.
What?
Yeah. Also, you have to think of this too. Also, like in the 60s and the 70s, anyone who can remember that time period, remember pictures from that time period. When you saw black people, they would make a joke. White people would make a joke out of the fact that we dress in loud colors and all these different things. And it's because black people appreciate color and color palettes, and because of that, we would dress in what they would consider loud. But it's really just because the color palette that they see is so narrow, or so like narrow, or more narrow than ours. Not that ours is narrow at all. It's just narrow. So so we dress, so we have different ways that we dress and different and know how to put colors together and all this stuff. And anytime they do put together something nice, it's because they're imitating us always.
Yes. Go ahead, Queen. Go ahead, Queen Anjali.
Oh no, I'm with you.
Yeah, go ahead. You have amazing information.
When I come, I listen to you. I learn from you. You have an extraordinary scope and understanding of these people that's right and exact. I think this is one of the few places I come where I just shut up. So I'm just listening.
Well, you can jump in anytime. Go ahead.
But
you
think about
No, I can talk.
Yeah,
Actually, about the car trashing situation. Look, I never said it like she's out there to help black people or anything like that. I just said that what she did was good, but what I think what she's doing is solely based on an agenda. It's not for a good entirely. That's why I said in the comment section.
You know what I think she did, brother? I think she came out to do that because Kanye got such bad press. She felt like she had to come out and turn the tide.
That's right.
Don't talk about. Don't talk about what.
Yeah.
Don't talk about what Kardashian.
That's what
I was
I'm
doing the
talking
comment.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, she's a whore. It was all manipulated. Donald Trump and Kardashian probably go to the same satanic meetings.
Yeah. I wouldn't doubt it.
Well, she is a witch. So,
That is very true.
But that's what I think she was doing, because Kanye got such bad press. If you remember, he came out with that slavery was a choice, and then he lost, I think, like 9 million of his fans on Twitter, and a lot of people were criticizing him. And then she came out and did this thing, and I really think that was the only reason why she did it, was to turn this whole thing around with him getting all the bad publicity.
Yes, I just saw an article where they are saying, oh, it's the new Kanye now. He's just focusing on his music and stuff. And they're once again trying to reinvent him. They have so just fried that man's brain out.
Yes.
And he doesn't know which way he's coming or going.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I said. I said, Kanye is gone. He is gone. You're never going to see the old Kanye again. I really think now that he's with the Kardashians, he's just never going to be the same.
It just seems like when certain black people get rich, they forget who they are.
Yeah, very true.
And when he did Power, when he did the video for Power, that song, I think that was when he was gone by then. Because of all the symbolism in there, which he doesn't understand. You had the pillars, I think that was Solomon's temple in the background. You had Greek, Roman mythology wrapped all in there, which reaches back to, of course, African spirituality concepts. And he don't know what that meant. Just the fact that he's standing there and his eyes are illuminated, he didn't even get that.
Oh boy. Yeah.
He didn't even understand that in the video.
These are our symbols, a lot of them, that they wind up
right.
but what they're doing is they're presenting it as vassal states. Same with the Museum of Slavery. So when they use them, they utilize them like if our souls were their slaves. So that's what makes them evil portents for the moment. But when we have complete and total sovereignty over ourselves, those are our symbols. They don't belong to them. The truncated eyeball, that's the eye of Horus. You know, so that's not in itself something that is meant to be evil, but when they use it and the way they use it, they're trying to harness our energy, and that's where these symbols fail them. Because what they really want, they want Black us to just bow down and agree to their rulership, and we do that. They can't have us.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
You're right, Anjali. You look at that. I mean, I can't think of any other video with visual. Now, visual accuracy, yes, I will give it. But Kanye is not the director. Kanye didn't develop the sequencing of that video. That video was taken in one shot, according to the videographer and everything. That is very difficult to do. You have one shot to do everything, and there's like 50 things happening at one time within 30 seconds. And every single piece of the video tells a story. So yeah, and it tells a story back to African spirituality. They try to twist it and turn it, but if you really think like True Royal Family says, you know, look at it with your third eye, you see what they're doing. And then you can see what they're doing with Kanye, and he's a symbol of all the others.
Yeah, he is.
Anything they do with him, they do with the others.
Just like with Jay-Z and
same thing. Beyonce, Rihanna, Chris Brown, all of them.
I mean, you know what? They all kind of co-sign on to being in that kind of life.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm thinking they must think it's a joke when they first get into it, but these people they will kill you if you try to get out, which to me, if you figure you're on the side of Satan and you start to realize that these people are serious, to me, that's worth my murder or whatever in order to get out, because you don't want to be beholden to evil. This is the last days, and you just don't want to be playing games like that, even if you got in innocent. Then I can't say any of these people get in innocent, because I understand they have their ritual murders in order to get in the first place. You have to prove that you're willing to go just as down and dark as you can before you're admitted to that.
You're right. I mean, these people, you know, Beyonce and Jay-Z and Rihanna, and they're heavy into all this Satanism stuff. You see them throwing up those symbols all the time. Every one of their videos, they got all kinds of demonic symbology in them. You know,
it's just like Trump. He always shows that white power symbol when he's
Yeah.
do that.
And when you have that, people who recognize those symbols, they know what it means. We're the ones who, for the most part, not us here on the panel, but or in the chat room, but us in general, we're the ones who don't understand. And can be caught up in that, and just don't really get it. But at the end, you know, not knowing, I think Lisa, you said this, not knowing, that's not an excuse.
Right?
You know, just because you don't know, ignorance is no excuse of the law, and it's not an excuse of God's law either.
Right.
You know, oh, I didn't know. Really? Okay. Every sheep knows that a wolf is its enemy.
Yes.
Okay. Every wolf knows I eat sheep, and what you gonna do? Like that. No excuses as a predator, and no excuses as a prey to protect yourself or hide. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, at the end, there's no excuses for you not knowing.
When the Most
you
High,
put yourself in damnation.
Yeah, I'm looking at it when the Most High comes in. It's like the body having a fever and burning out contagion. There are some cells that are going to experience discomfort. You, the person, are going to experience a lot of discomfort. But then once it's over, the contagion is burned out.
Right.
right? You just gotta.
That's a good way to look at it.
What I know is that something I found very helpful just for myself is that I came to the understanding that anytime that I see the news, anytime I see a TV show, anytime I see a movie, any type of media, newspaper story, I always start with it with this in mind. When white people do, they always have a reason for what they do, and they always have an angle for what they do. They don't just like do anything straight. They do everything with some kind of an angle. I was listening to Dr. Mumby the other day, and she was talking about how Meghan Markle is already making appearances with the Queen, and in her the other one that married Prince Harry, whichever one. I don't really keep up with them. But said it was a year before she made her first appearance. The white one. It was a year before she made her first appearance with the Queen. And what Dr. Mumby was basically getting at was, they're after Africa real hard.
Yes.
And they're trying to put all this, doing this dog and pony show. Meghan Markle isn't even black; she's biracial, but they're still using that as a wedge to try to inch their way in there and slime their way in.
Well, brother,
that photo of the Queen where you was visibly glaring. She has so little control over herself, and she was visibly glaring at Meghan Markle. So yeah.
Well, brother, and then also Lisa, I live in London, okay? And I know exactly what the royal family, the demonic royal family is up to. And what you just said, brother, is absolutely on point. Their agenda for Meghan is to take her around to the Commonwealth countries and have her go there and try to, capture the hearts of those people, those black and brown people that are part of the Commonwealth. And her wedding gown was very plain, but the veil that she had on her gown had flowers embroidered in the lace from every Commonwealth country in Britain. These people, this is what they're using her for. Precisely what they're using her for.
Oh, I'm so mad about that.
There is no way they're going to let black blood into the line, and there's no reason for it.
That's
No
right.
way.
That's what I say. It's a political wedding, definitely.
And have you heard that Zimbabwe has applied to go back to being a Commonwealth nation?
Oh no.
I know the president, since Mugabe got kind of thrown out.
Well, yeah, they pushed Mugabe out, and then they replaced him with a coon.
Yeah, this president is a complete coon.
And now
Everything Mugabe was trying to do, like get the land back from these whites, undo the whole thing.
Yep. And now the coon wants to go back to England, back to being a Commonwealth nation.
Yeah.
I mean, how backwards can you get?
Right.
You are a free nation, and now you want to go back to being part of the Commonwealth?
He's paid off.
Yeah.
It's about money.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah. I'm wondering about also the president. I think it was either of Ghana or Cameroon. I think it was Cameroon.
Ghana is also a coon.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I said the one in Ghana.
Yeah.
Coon.
Yeah, that because he came out trying to act in front of, I think it was Cameroon I'm thinking of, trying to act in front of the French like he was a big man. Oh, we want stuff for ourselves and so on. But it's still a setup. They're setting up all those reluctant nations that used to operate under not Mugabe, but under the one that Gaddafi.
Yes.
And they're trying to get them all in to bowing down.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, well, they had to get rid of Gaddafi because Gaddafi was helping out black folks. So,
Yeah,
they
they want that. Yeah, that is the truth.
Exactly.
Gaddafi was talking about arming us, finding a way to arm the black community. Yeah, they don't want that.
Yeah, having our own satellite so that we controlled our own communications networks.
Right.
Having our own money backed by gold. They made sure they killed him.
Yeah. And took the gold.
Yo, they sure did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is what they do. And now if you look at much of the foreign news, a lot of people want America out of their affairs.
Good.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of countries are telling America to go away, leave us alone.
And dropping the U.S. petrodollar.
Yeah. And it's only a matter of time before it starts turning into threats and then war. They don't want the U.S. around.
That's right.
That's what they get.
This is what number 45 wants, you know.
Well, you know, for a long time, they talked a good game to the world. Oh, land of the free, home of the brave. Oh, America, the American dream. And a lot of foreigners come here and realize it's a load of bullshit.
Yep.
You know, it's not true. But they have talked the world into believing there's some major dream in coming to America, and it really isn't. America is not what it's cracked up to be.
It's falling to pieces.
Yeah, we got a homeless problem that's out of control.
Yep.
Yeah. And these folks, they hate poor people. So they don't even want to deal with the homeless problem, but they'll complain about these people being around.
Yes, they've been making benches now that have spikes on them.
What?
Yeah.
What? Yeah.
And even pay benches where they have spikes, but the spikes will go down for like 15 minutes every single time you put in $1 or something.
Oh my God.
You can Google the images on benches with spikes.
What the hell is this?
Do you know what kind of evil mindset you got to have to come up with something like that?
Man, she gotta be a double.
You know they have cameras around the parks where they can watch them and just laugh.
First of all, the fact that there's cameras all over America, that tells you something
problem.
right there. That, tells me, that just shows the level of paranoia these people have. They think if somebody is plotting, they're going to see it. You know, you would have to be a fool to plot out in public.
Oh, man.
You would have to be a complete fool to do that.
I'm speechless. Spikes,
Yeah, like-
benches.
Yeah.
Let me lay out my plans on the ground in the park.
Oh yeah.
I put out my plans here.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna sit at the traffic light where the camera is and come up with a conspiracy. That's what I'm gonna do.
Holding a sign up. This is my plan.
The cost of living doesn't match how much we're getting paid. And me as myself, I'm a college graduate, but they want you to have years of experience. So I'm basically doing a job that I didn't even need a degree for, just until somebody will give me an opportunity to work at the job that I studied for.
Yeah, that happens to so many Black men and women that go through college and they get out and they refuse to give you a job in, you know, the field that you went to college for.
Right.
And then we have to file bankruptcy or go into debt is because our income doesn't cover all the student loans that we took out.
Exactly. You're starting out life in a huge amount of debt, a debt that I couldn't imagine ever paying back.
No. Yeah, I don't know how I'm supposed to get a house. I don't know how I'm supposed to get a house.
You can't get a life.
Can't. Your hands are tied. When you got that on your credit report and you still paying or you're behind on it, you can't get anything.
Right.
You can't get anything.
You can't get a life. I mean, and this is another thing they're doing to our young Black people. They say, oh, well, go get a degree. Oh, go take out all these loans. Okay, now that you got your degree, okay, now go try to find a job. Oh no, I'm sorry, there's no jobs for you.
Right.
Yeah. And then you get a degree and then they try to argue with you, well, you shouldn't have got a degree in that. No, I went to college. That's all that matters.
Right. And I think that takes a lot of nerve for somebody to sit in your face and tell you you should not have gotten a degree. Then
okay, so I got one in business administration.
Educated or you don't. If you don't, then close down all of these damn institutions.
Right.
And then you end up.
You should have went for.
Go ahead.
And then they say, oh, you should have been a doctor, you should have did a lawyer, or you should have been an engineer. No, I wanted to do business administration. That's what I wanted to do.
If the economy's so fabulous, that should be a
You know what? I would have stopped them right there. The person that's sitting there telling you that, are they a doctor? Are they a lawyer?
No.
Okay, then they need
Thank you.
Do they have a degree?
Thank you.
No. No. I mean, I
would have given back at them. Are you a doctor or a lawyer or any of them things you telling me I should have been? Are you any of those things? Because if you're not, then you need to shut the F up.
Yeah, for real.
You know, I have a bachelor's degree. I have a master's degree. I've got all kinds of professional certification, but yet I always end up working for somebody that didn't even graduate fucking high school.
Isn't that the big?
Oh my God.
I had a friend, and she was a college graduate in economics. She had a job at a bank. She was assistant manager. Do you know the top spot, the top banking manager position would constantly have like a whole bunch of people coming and going, and they were always white, and she always had to train them, but they would not give her the position.
Yeah.
Of course not.
Trained every last one of those white people that came in there that took that job, but when she kept applying for it, they wouldn't give it to her. But
Yeah,
that's how they
I could tell you horror stories.
That's how they do our people.
I could tell you horror stories. I've been through so much shit in my life. I am writing a book.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, but that's how they do our people. They have been doing us like that for the longest. They'll bring somebody and keep putting them over you, and you already got the skills and know how to do the job, but they won't give it to you because we know for the obvious reasons.
Yeah. They will bring people in who have absolutely no experience just because it's their friend or a friend of a friend or
right.
No, they have this whole system set up for themselves.
Exactly.
That's why they hate us. They don't want that to be stopped.
Yeah. You know, and just like the Queen said, they had ample time to do away with this system if they really wanted to. It has gone on for 5 centuries. It should be clear to every Black person in this country, they are not going to do away with this system.
First of all, the system is to their advantage.
Yes.
They're never going to get rid of anything that's to their advantage. The system of white supremacy is they've created this so that they can be in power. This is what these people love.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been very successful at fucking over the whole wide world with the system of white supremacy.
Yes.
And they're not gonna change it because hey, look at them right now. They got all the money, they got all the power. They're not gonna change the goddamn thing.
And they can't afford to change it because they're scared to death. If they change it, the whole world's going to rip them to shreds, which is true, possibly.
Well, wait a minute. Why would you change something that works to your advantage?
Right. And the Queen Anjali is right. I mean, if they change it, it's really suicide for them at this point.
That's why they're not gonna change this. They're sitting on top of the world.
Yeah.
You know, the income gap between white people and Black people is unbelievable and getting worse.
Yeah. And the thing is, it is prophesied that the world is going to stop trading with America. And I'm really intrigued with all this stuff Trump is doing with trade deals. He's pissing off a lot of countries.
Yeah, Trump is the greatest reality show that they've ever had.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if things are going to get so bad to where we'll be the refugees.
Yeah, never a dull moment. See, the other countries now are complaining that this is going to put their people out of work.
Good.
These tariffs that Trump is bringing forward is going to put their people out of work. And that's why you're hearing about a lot of them, like Canada and the EU, saying they're going to retaliate against Trump. And Mexico, too. They all say they're going to retaliate against Trump for putting these tariffs on them and increasing the amount of the tariffs on the other countries.
And that's when they're going to start acting crazy and killing themselves. We used to struggle and they're not.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, look what they're doing now. I mean, they're taking all these opioids and stuff and they're committing suicide like crazy because You know,
Good.
so I don't understand why they're so unhappy. They got every goddamn thing. I don't get it.
They expect they can steal their way into bliss, and you can't do that. You can't make truth out of a lie.
Right.
And so they're stressed out. They're a whole society. It's a generational legacy that makes them seek out ways to numb themselves.
Exactly.
Right.
You know, see, they can't pick somebody because psychologically they cannot deal with their reality.
Yeah, they can't handle stress.
And all this potpourri that we all know it's not true, but they can't really deal with their reality. They can't.
I saw a news report today. Michael Cohen, who is Trump's quote unquote lawyer fixer, lives in a $9 million house.
Yeah.
What the fuck? $9 million house?
Yeah.
I guess you need to pay him big to keep him fixing that mess.
Yeah.
Yeah, the maintenance. You gotta pay the maintenance to keep the house maintained.
Well,
Like
see,
if you,
that's
for example, if you got a
illegals come in. See, that's where the illegals come in. See, these rich people hiring illegal maids and cooks and stuff for those mansions. So
Right.
they're paying them that much money to keep that mansion up.
Oh yeah, and the plumbers, the people that do the roofing, the people that do the wiring, for like the house is breaking down.
Yes.
All that adds
That's
up.
what they need the Mexicans for. That they gotta have some Mexicans coming here to work.
They love the illegals.
Yeah, so if they get rid of all of them, what they gonna do? Because they not gonna do that work.
No, honey, they don't work.
That's what I want to know. I wanted to know that. I was like, when they're all gone.
Right.
And you know what? I know what's going to happen. I got to go back to Ayapo because he said they want to make it in controllable numbers. So I think that's the answer as well for them.
They already brought a bunch of people in from Mexico because they figured out they didn't have anybody to pick soybeans or some shit.
Right.
Yeah, but did you hear that when the Mexicans left some of the farms down in the South, they lost their whole crop?
Oh, yeah.
Why didn't the white people go out there and do the crops?
That happened here too because in the what is it called?
Folks too busy getting high. That's why.
Yeah.
But we're
In the
the ones that are
Grapevine
lazy,
area, they have
remember?
farms.
Yeah, they would need the cameras rolling. That's the only time where they get to portray themselves as strong and brilliant, and they're gonna save the day at the last minute. So
That's what you know what I told my son, that Queen? I told him, I said, they're only a hero in film.
That's right.
They're not heroes in real life, just in film. That's it.
Yeah, that with the farming that happened here at the Grapevine, where I guess middle of California, it's just north of me. They had them leaving. We had the drought really bad. Well, it's not really a drought, but it was just a period of not enough rain. There was rain, just wasn't enough in certain places. And they were just walking off the farms. One, because it was too damn hot, and two, they weren't paying them enough. That's what they didn't say in the news reports.
Oh, you know what?
And their crops died. They just died.
Yeah, and not only that, they were rounding up so many illegals. A lot of them just left because
They were afraid.
They were going to
Yeah.
be rounded up. And so they got left with those farms, and you can clearly see they couldn't even manage their own farms. They ended up losing their entire crops.
Right, I've seen that. Where the cuties, cuties, it's like a little tangerine.
Yes.
And I've driven past those farms up there. They're empty. It's just like nobody's there picking them. They're all on the ground and rotting. It's crazy. It's really, really bad.
Tell you that they can't do that labor. Their bodies are not made to be out in that hot sun all day long doing that. So there is no way they can keep labeling themselves superior.
I think that would be good rehab to take all them damn drug addicts and put them out in the field. And
I just thought of that too.
Some shit, that way, they get some fresh air and some exercise and, get
Way
some
too logical for those guys.
You know what they'll do, y'all? You know what they'll do? If they can't get the Mexicans, they'll probably get some people from the prisons.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. But that just go to show you they cannot physically be in these fields harvesting any vegetables or picking any fruits from trees. They can't do it because their bodies will not allow them to do it.
Yeah.
Well, that's why they got slaves in the first place.
Yeah, they couldn't build America, y'all. They couldn't.
Well, they came over here. They came over from Europe, and they never did shit when they were over in Europe. So they came over here, and all of a sudden there's all this land and stuff, and and the Indians are trying to teach them how to grow crops and shit. And the next thing you know, they're like, "Damn, well, we need to get somebody to pick this stuff because we can't do this." So that's when they go and they get slaves to do it. They've never been able to do that work.
No.
Never.
But the fact that they're losing their entire crops after the Mexicans left, that should open the eyes of every Black person, because it really tells you they cannot withstand the sun. They can't be out there for hours and hours like our ancestors did.
Yep.
Right. Well, some of the first mechanized equipment was the farm equipment. Right after the emancipation, when we had managed to acquire lots of land in order just to compete, they started coming up with mechanization.
Yes.
Well, actually, Eli Whitney came up with cotton gin.
Yeah.
A Black man came up with the cotton gin.
That's right. The tractor too.
Yep.
The tractor. I mean, the cotton gin. Everything you use on the farm, everything you use on that farm came from our people, because they were out there doing the work, and they just came up with inventions to make the work easier on themselves.
Exactly.
Why would the invention come from the white man? He wasn't out there doing the work. It wouldn't make any sense that it would come from him.
That's right. And they're not warm, loving people. They don't think about, because I know, I forget who came up with the shoe lasting machine. He did that because he got tired of seeing people walking around shoeless. So he wanted to come up with a method that would allow people to afford, just common people, be able to afford a pair of shoes.
Yeah.
Family, there are so many inventions out there that have come from Black people. It is not funny. And we don't know the half of it. It is,
that's why I did a video that's out on Black Junction that says that we have done things that can never be matched by other groups. And the invention is one of those things. There is no group on this earth that came up with more inventions than us.
Exactly.
None. We have done many things in history that have never been duplicated, just like Black Wall Street. A dollar bounced 36 to 100 times on Black Wall Street. There is no Jewish group, none of these white people that claim they're not Jews, no Asians, no Hispanics, none of them to this day has ever matched that. None of them. We have done many things that have not been topped by any other group. Many, many things. In sports.
And a Black man came up with heart transplants, okay?
Yeah.
Okay?
And the train system, the metro rail.
Yes. Right. And do you know the top scientists at NASA are Black, but they will only show you the white scientists on TV?
Wow.
But the actual real top scientists there are all Black.
Wow.
Well, that movie, it's a shame, but I didn't know about those women mathematicians that worked on did the calculations for the spaceships, hidden colors, until they came out with the goddamn movie. I didn't even know that.
Because
and that's a bunch of Black women.
They try to keep our achievements sight. That's why. They don't want our achievements to be known worldwide. But deep down inside, most people know who the superior ones are. They know. They won't admit it, but they do know. I have had Arabs, East Indians, Asians come up to me and say, "You know what's more?" And then they'll turn around and proceed to tell me, "You're the chosen." I have heard this from them.
Wait a minute, I couldn't hear you for a bit there. It was breaking.
I said I have been around Arabs, East Indians, and even Asians that have told me you who you are. They know that you are the chosen ones on the earth.
Yeah.
I mean, I've even had other white people come and tell me that. And once in a blue moon, one of them will slip up and tell us. But really, everybody knows this.
It's obvious. They know it.
I mean, how do you hide it? You really can't. I think that's what angers them the most, because they know when we get out there in the Olympics and the black men are running faster than everybody else and playing basketball better, and they can't hide our abilities. They can't hide it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they don't want us to, we need to start teaching our children our history. And instead of them, coming up with these goddamn lynching museums and shit, we need to know what our true history is. I mean, we don't need no goddamn lynching museum. We need a museum of great black inventors, okay? Great black scientists, great black doctors, great black, nuclear, rocket scientists. This is what we need a museum of.
Well, first of all, if they're going to put up any museum about us, wouldn't it make sense to ask us what we want?
Well, they're not going to do that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Even the one in Washington, D.C., the brand new one, they said it's like, I haven't been there and I probably won't see it, but they said there's a whole floor that's just with sports. Like, is that all we do? Is dribble basketballs and shit?
Right.
Well, even if they ask us, they have their whole crew of coons who they'll go to and they'll hear exactly what they want to hear.
Yeah.
Oh,
this is true.
That's why they picked all those folks to be up there. And then they can say, oh, no, look, this everything's fine. Look who's in the Congress doing nothing for you.
Isn't that disgusting? Right now, I think every single one of them old ass Congressional Black Caucus members need to just retire. Get their asses out of there. They've been in there for too long. We have gone for decades without them doing a damn thing for us. At this point, they're just in there collecting money. They're not doing work for us.
Yep, the Coon Caucus. Yep.
Yeah, aren't they beholden to the private prison system, or am I getting that wrong?
Yeah. And you notice, I want you to all notice, whenever they come up with new legislature about criminal law, they always go along with it. And they know that shit is going to impact us more than anyone else.
Yep.
Right.
Under Donald Trump, the private prison industry has gotten like a 200% increase in their profits under him. So that's another proof that him pardoning that sister, lovely sister, Alice Johnson, I believe, that was all a ruse. Why not pardon Assata Shakur?
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Why not pardon all the innocent people that they know they got in there?
Yeah.
I was looking at an article, and they are estimating that 49% of the people in prison are innocent.
Oh.
That is just outrageous.
Well, they're in there for like marijuana crap, and then a lot of them are in there because they can't afford to post bail.
Oh, yeah.
Right, and not only that, you know what they also do? Make them take plea deals.
That's it.
Oh yeah, and that's what it screwed them in. That's what it screwed them with.
Yeah.
And then they end up in a system they can't even get out of.
That's sad.
But see,
They keep the public defenders,
the fact
weak on purpose, so they won't be able to defend. They're not doing what they're supposed to be doing anyway.
Exactly, sister. That's why they keep coming to the Black community. Those cops keep coming to the Black community and harassing people and arresting them. This is why. They got to keep, the states made contracts to keep those facilities at 90%. So they're constantly making black people going in there so that they can keep up that prison work.
Yeah.
That's why they keep screaming, we are the criminals. We're not no damn criminals. This right now, those prison systems are the bread and butter of America.
That's right.
Yep, without it, the economy will crumble.
That's the one growth industry. And I'm sure that's what Superfly 2 was meant to accomplish, is to keep those prisons full.
Yes. Okay. They got to keep the prisons full because they made contracts with the states. It's not that you're doing crime. You're not doing crime. They got to keep us going in there to do that prison work.
Right.
If we, like I said before, if we were the criminals that they claim we are, wouldn't we have killed them off by now?
Yep.
That's right.
You know, I thought about that. You said that once before too. And I thought about that and I said, you know, when were times where we did fight back, they had to go back, regroup, and come with stronger weapons.
Right.
Every time, and more vicious tactics. They study animals because, you know, well, yeah, some people study what they are, but yeah, they see how they move and they're like, we have to be just as vicious or more vicious to come back. And that's how they've been able to, and they have infiltrated every area of activity.
And they love violence. They have a bloodlust. I showed a video clip of Russian hooligans. They'll get together, like 50 of them, and the whole purpose is not to play a game, but to learn how to kick butt. They will just come at each other, and even the Russian women are doing this. They have a lot of blood and carnage and pain that is just ghoulish.
Fight Club.
Okay, I know
there was a teacher that did that had a fight club with his students, and he had been doing it for months. The only time he got caught is when one of the students said he didn't want to join in, and he went and told the principal. But it had been going on for months, where they'd have math class and then they'd have fight club in the back of the class.
I'm not surprised. This is why we can't. This is why we are sending our kids into danger when we send them in classrooms with these people.
Right.
Even at the church too. Did y'all hear about that priest that slapped that baby during baptism? That white priest.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't hear that. Oh
He
my God.
slapped the baby.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Oh my God.
Yes,
oh my goodness. This is crazy. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I mean, nothing is safe.
Hybrids.
They keep there's a sister who just said, and they stay chemtrailing. They are complaining about, you know, Iran or all the poison gas, the sarin gas that they're using. You just go into a supermarket and just even go to the baby food section. It's riddled with poisons.
Yes.
You know, so they're just on every single front. They're hypocrites, and they're vicious hypocrites.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, when I had my son, there was a big story that had broke about how the juice that was made for babies was rotting out the baby's teeth.
Wait,
what?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, you ain't going to improve what the Most High put out here for us to eat. I mean, but these folks think they can improve the corn with their preservatives and chemicals and additives, and they can improve the vegetables and the meat and everything, and ultimately they're poisoning us with all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Come on, do we really need them to improve our food? No. No.
Especially since they also, on top of not being able to see the same colors and smell the same way, they don't have the same taste buds. So that's why we just, hands down, when we cook, there's no comparison.
Right. Exactly.
I'm so tired of them. I am.
But you know what? That's what the Most High said was going to happen towards the end. We would just be worn out.
I am.
In the system and so tired that we'll be praying to him to get out of here.
Oh my God.
Well, they're never
No, I
ending.
think this is happening.
I was about to say they're never ending efforts to jack us up. See, I was looking at because I live in Ohio, and I was looking at a map of Columbus. And in Columbus, they go around and they spray for mosquitoes. Like at night, they send these trucks and they just send all this mist everywhere. And they ride down the road, and all there is like this smoke and mist coming out. And they're saying they're spraying for mosquitoes. However, the thing is, I looked at a map of where they spray, and these are mostly urban areas where there's not a lot of trees and grass and so on. So you have these suburban areas where there's all kinds of trees, grass, lakes, and so on, or not lakes, but like little man-made water structures where there are plenty of mosquitoes, but they're not spraying those. They're spraying in urban areas. So you know they're not spraying mosquitoes. That's the excuse they use.
You have to question that because they definitely, there's Ernest Sternglass who showed he called it a hidden genocide, that they deliberately do ship radioactive milk to our communities. And I don't know if it was in Chicago, I think it was in St. Louis. They had picked a project that they were spraying radioactive cadmium right on the people and just studying what happened to us. So I wouldn't be shocked if that mosquito spraying that's just what they say on the surface.
Right.
Actually trying to poison the community.
That is disgusting.
Right, because the areas they're spraying, like I said, they're urban areas where there wouldn't be a lot of mosquitoes anyway. So that's how you know that's a cover story. Because the suburban areas where there actually would be a lot of mosquitoes because of the forestry and everything else, they're not spraying those. So you know something's up just by seeing that.
Yeah.
They know what temperatures and humidity, which days will be humid, which days will have higher, lower temperature at night. So they know those are the nights they go spray. And they've already, studied that. They know how long it will stay in the air. They know they can predict which direction it'll go into faster, all that kind of stuff. So they know. And they also have cameras that have the infrared. So if they wanted to see it in real time, they could.
And they could see
as they spray it.
Homes with those cameras too.
Right. Wow. So they have it where they can time it how long it's been in the area. And that's how they know how much to spray and how long to spray.
But you know what? The Most High is absolutely wonderful. No matter how much they try to do these things.
Still here.
Who's in the news for dying off?
Right.
It's really to their own demise that they're doing those things to us in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
I want to share. This is my favorite quote, and it's real short, but it's Daniel 8:25, where through his craft and by his hand, he will cause deceit to prosper. And in his own mind, he will make himself great. In a time of peace, he will destroy many. And he will even stand against the Prince of Princes, yet he will be broken off, but not by hand.
Yes. Yes. And see, a lot of people, when you hear the Bible verses, when the Most High said, vengeance is mine. See, what the Most High is trying to do is keep our hands clean. So they die. And when they get killed off, they can't come back and blame us.
That's right.
They can't blame us for their demise, although they're trying to do it. But technically, they really can't do it at all. We did not give them opioids. We're not putting heroin on the street. We don't have no planes to fly this fentanyl in. We don't have boats to bring drugs in. So they can't point to us for all of those drug deaths. They can't blame us for their suicides. They can't blame us for any of the things that's happening to them.
Right.
So, we got to pray and just let him continue on with this vengeance.
That's right. Amen.
And that's why I keep saying we need to separate separate
Absolutely.
these people, because I don't want to be anywhere near them. As the old saying goes, I don't want to be in the lightning striking area.
Absolutely.
I want to be away from wherever they are, so I'm not collateral damage.
Very true.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? And I just say, just looking at all this news that came out about 26 states they can't reproduce, they're not reproducing in. Another year, it will be more states, and eventually it's going to be the whole country.
Right. Because it went up within a couple of months. This last time you read it, it was 17.
17, and it went from 17 to 26 states now. So that's
Wow.
slightly over half of the country.
Wow. That is crazy.
Yeah.
It will be probably all the states by the end of this year.
Yeah. But I
Yes.
know it's true because you know what? Here in New Jersey, where I am, I have to tell you, when I'm on the road, especially on the weekends, I see more funeral parties going to the roads than I do wedding parties.
I see that too.
You know, I remember.
And I don't see them in areas where, like, I don't see them in South Central. I see them in this area, West Hollywood, Beverly Hills
I remember
area.
when I
Really
was growing
sad.
up, there's 4 churches near me. I remember there were times when there would be weddings at all 4 churches on a Saturday. Now you can go by those churches on a Saturday and there's no cars in the lot, nobody's there, no activity. And it was the complete opposite when I was growing up. It is very rare to go down the road now and see even a wedding party. Things are definitely changing.
Yes, I keep hoping that I'll hear about more unions, because that's in our power, where there's some amazing brothers and sisters up here, but you guys are, communicating in the comments section. And I know, take your time. You want to be friends for a long time, but I want to hear about those weddings myself. I want to hear about those babies.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
No, that people my age in their 20s, they don't want to get married. They want to have several other women. Women enjoy being the side pieces.
That's all I'm saying.
That's what's wrong. You know, the side pieces are winning, the whores are winning.
Yep.
Yeah, the women that was, not considered anything good now are the cat's meow now. And the woman that wants to get married, want to have children, that woman is looked at negatively.
Exactly.
You can tell this world is wicked.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to throw something in. This is changing the subject a little bit, but I caught John Lewis, and is there anybody out there who can start calling some of these coons and telling them to stop crying on national television?
Isn't it sickening?
Because they never cry over our people.
They don't cry. They don't shed a tear over us. In fact, don't even bring our issues.
No. But then they start talking about everything else and their grandmother that was in the Holocaust and all this different stuff. And next thing you know, the tears are flowing.
And I don't know why. I don't know why.
Brother, dry your teary eyes. Oh my God.
Ain't that that is the truth. That is the truth. I can't even bear to look at them now. I'm serious. I can't bear to even look at or hear anybody from the Congressional Black Caucus, knowing that, like I said, we have been separated for centuries in this country. These people are separated for a hot minute, but they're worth crying over. I don't get it.
I don't think I cried that much when I was 8 years old.
I know, right?
That's why I didn't even want to talk about any of that. I was just like, okay, all right. They've been doing this to us forever.
Yes.
A little baby was just murdered in a truck by her adopted parents, and there's going to be no investigation whatsoever. So you can't tell me about something. Then I'm like, okay, this is the world that you guys brought into existence by ignoring us.
Yes. Yeah, I saw Dennis Rodman crying over North Korea and the U.S. meeting. I mean, come on. That shit.
Right.
Okay. They always got our people crying on TV over everything except for us.
Right. If anything, all they do is get on there and talk about how we should be accountable to whatever or whoever. The only people Black people need to be accountable to is ourselves.
Right.
Period.
Right. No, we don't owe no accountability to any of them. Not now, not ever.
That's right. The club is closed.
Yeah.
I know these Black leaders are keeping Kleenex in business because every time you see them, they're crying.
Yeah, well, it's time for them to go. What is John Lewis in his 70s, almost damn near 80 now? I'm serious. All of them are over the hill. I think Maxine Waters, I think she's in her age. These people need to retire.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that they could get a
good question. Why they still working?
But they come with that authority that, well, we were part of the civil rights movement and stuff. They
will ride the civil rights coattail forever. It's time to get off of that.
And they have a new group to take over who aren't definitively coons that would have a modicum of respect within the heart of the Black community. So they don't have any replacements. They're going to dig these people up from the grave and put them up there rotting and stinking long after they die.
Right. Like that great philosopher said, Janet Jackson, what have you done for me lately?
Right. Exactly. And we know what that answer is, right?
And Andrew Young cooned out real bad. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. But we don't, we don't need leaders anymore per se. We should all be leaders so that one person doesn't get taken out and then that ends the movement.
Yes.
Right. Well, when they said they fear the rise of the Messiah, no, we are all the Messiah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the thing. We are all the Messiah.
That's right. That they fear the rise of anybody who will remind us that it's not that we have individual geniuses. They're always highlighting their geniuses because as a people, they're incredibly slow. But with us, it's the nature of Blackness. It's the nature of who we are.
Yeah.
Because you'll just see our babies even are extraordinary. So it's all of us.
You know what, Queen? If I walk around and see one more white woman with fake lips, fake boobs, fake ass, swooping her behind around me one more time, I think I'm going to puke. Now, how long have these people been talking about how ugly we were and ugly our lips and ugly this, ugly that, but you see them going out getting this stuff? I went out today. I think I saw about 5-6 fake asses while I was out.
I know that's true. I know sooner or later, they will be getting plastic surgery to imitate even our noses.
Yeah.
I believe that.
Yeah. I mean, this is ridiculous. You can't turn a corner without seeing somebody coming around with some fake titties, fake lips, fake boobs, fake everything. And it's like, this is just ridiculous. This is ridiculous. And they have the audacity to believe those fake lips look better than our natural lips. That just floors me right there.
Well, that just lets you know their perception. They keep talking about body dysmorphia. They have soul dysmorphia, where they just can't perceive that if you are this desperate to imitate somebody else, you need to really do some serious inner reflection. But I don't know. The jury's out. A lot of people say they don't have souls. I think they have teeny tiny little toddler souls. So that I would never be them. I would just never be that damn.
Yeah, when the information man had that brother on, what was his name? Carl Basden. He said Black folks need to stop trying to be like white folks. I was like, where did that come from? I to be honest with you, I don't know any Black folks that are trying to be like white folks. Right. You know anybody like that? I don't.
I don't know any.
Cool.
I'm sorry. I've heard that from I heard that from Tariq Nasheed, also too, black folks need to stop acting like white folks. Where are y'all coming up with this?
Bro, he's a coon himself with a white wife.
Where are they coming up with this bullshit and getting
Oh, half white wife.
on a video and addressing our people like that?
I wouldn't say so much trying to be like them. I feel like sometimes black people are so ashamed of their natural hair and just how they talk. They try to imitate something that they're not. And there are educated black people who don't all talk, uneducated and ghetto. But if we do talk like we have sense, we're a white girl, we're a white boy.
Uh-huh.
I think what they're missing is when they're talking about black people who want to be like white people. No, you have black people who are trying to be accepted by white people.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I mean right there.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah, I would say that is a problem, but they phrase it as if we're all trying to be like that, and I'm like, no.
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 Like Satan.
No. And I posted in the chat. I have posted in the chat. I said, I was with you with everything, but that one statement, no. I had to post that.
That was one of the reasons why, when it comes to wearing weaves and so on, I had to accept, because I used to be part of the team where it was like, it's low self-esteem and all the rest, and I recognize it's actually become a black tradition. And that's what, it's not that you're trying to go out there and look like Becky. You're trying to look like your mom and your grandma and just do it in a way that looks more authentic and genuine, even though everybody knows it's not your hair. But then again, we do have sisters who that is their hair. So I realize that we really are starting to fall in love with ourselves. It's just that falling in love with our natural hair, that feels like a new tradition. And we are very traditional.
Yeah.
We're not going to step out of what we think, is this, what's respected in our community. So you're right. It doesn't have to do with the white woman. It's that this is just what everybody we know has always done.
Yeah.
We like to come at the sisters on that point as far as like hair and makeup, but even going back to the beginning, you look at Nat King Cole, you look at Cab Calloway, they have their hair all done like these white boys.
Yeah.
Trying to look like them. And that started way back then among our people at large.
Mm-hmm.
This whole trying to identify, not trying to be white, but trying to gain acceptance by white.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
And Sister Angelique, I want to congratulate you for single-handedly bringing down that Solo movie. I really appreciate your effort.
I am woman, hear me roar. Thank you very much. I don't think that was me. That was just us sitting in our houses saying pansexual what? Nah.
Exactly. I'm glad that movie bombed.
That and Superfly too. That's a beautiful thing. We're a huge movement. They're just not talking about it, and they're hiding it, because if people know we're a movement, then that's going to become its own authority. More and more people are, rather than when you have an uncle or a cousin who's like, pro-black's a good thing. You wouldn't laugh at them. You would sit back and say, yeah, a lot of people are saying that. So, and that winds up being its own force that pulls everybody along, and they can't shut it down now. They shut it down last time with Superfly, but they can't shut it down because we're genuinely falling in love with each other. And we never knew each other. We actually thought we needed white people's approval in order to be respectable, in order to be perceived as intelligent. That's not the case anymore.
Yeah. And plus they can't stand awakened black people. Oh my goodness, they can't stand us. And today I had gotten, I got a message. Well, somebody put in the chat and I took it out. And this person's name was Gloria Garcia. And she had the audacity, from my video when I talked about how we were separated, she had the audacity.
Garcia.
Yeah, Garcia. had the audacity to say, well, you know, you blacks can go back to Africa. I wrote her back. I said, who the fuck are you? Some damn person that came here, probably a first or second generation Hispanic, and you're going to tell somebody else to go back to Africa.
Right.
And I just erased it. I mean, you know, like Tareen, you got your, you know, your inferior, superior people, and then you got their cohorts that want to join in and do the same thing.
But Lisa, these are the very people who got in off of our back.
Exactly.
If we didn't pave the way, they would have never got the fuck in the first place. So they need to be thanking us.
Right. But she had the nerve to come to my comment section talking about go to Africa, and her name is Gloria Garcia. I was like, bitch, please.
Why don't they take their ungrateful asses back to their countries? Since they're the ones that's facing immigration right now, you ungrateful fucks.
It's just unbelievable, the hypocrisy and nerve of these people. That's why I'm not going to feel sorry for them. If Trump gets them out, I see it as a good thing as far as I'm concerned.
All these Latino immigrants, I'm seeing it right now. Hold your own nuts and titties. You're on your own.
Yeah.
The whole thing is that realistically, they have infested every single region of the planet. So no matter where we go, we're going to have to just stand and fight. There's no escaping the carnage that they come and they bring. They would love, because we here in the Unentitled Snakes understand Satan better than any other people on the planet. That is incredible to have such a gathering of wisdom and knowledge.
Yes.
That can't be undervalued at all.
Right. Exactly.
To add on to what you're saying, the reason why these these Mesdos, half-breeds, and the Caribbeans don't want to go full pro-black because of what happened to Haiti. Like Haiti was like, no, really, it was one of the independent. It's not only an independent in America. In America, you had so many slave revolts and everything like that, but they don't talk about that. I'm not gonna lie, we're the primary example of why to not stand up, or you be like the outcast.
Yeah. Well, plus they want to be on the winning team. They think that that's the winning
exactly.
team.
That's right.
Real quick, I just want to say, Sister Lisa, number one, I want to thank you for what you said and what you did, and something that we kind of went past because it's not really that big. It didn't seem like a big point, but we got to start checking these people.
Yeah.
They're coming at us sideways and coming at us with a bunch of foolishness. We need to start checking them.
But Lisa, last time I checked, didn't we go into their country and help them win their wars too?
Yes.
We did.
Yes, we sure did. And guess what? The white man couldn't fight that war because he couldn't handle the climate in Cuba. So most of that Spanish-American War was fought by black men who won the damn war. They couldn't handle that hot weather in Cuba, so they could not send white soldiers out there. They had to send the black soldiers there.
So not only did we help them out through our slave labor, but we also helped them in their own country, and they're still acting ungrateful. Trump, kick their asses out. To hell with all of them.
Yeah. You know, that's why I said no matter what Trump does to them, they're going to still hate us more.
That's right.
Queen, did you see the jacket Melania had on?
No, I didn't. I'll go.
Oh, honey, keep your eye on the screen. Keep your eye on the screen.
Okay.
Melania,
I'm coming back.
Melania went to visit the immigrant children that are being held, okay, and separated from their parents. This is how she boarded the plane. Keep your eye on the screen.
Okay.
This is how she boarded the plane. All right. I want you to see what's on the back of her jacket. The back of her jacket says, I really don't care. Do you? This is what she was wearing on the plane on her way to Texas to see the children, the immigrant children that were being held in those concentration camps, gated up.
God, she's a deaconess.
Yeah, this is how she went there. I really do not care, is what the back of her jacket said.
What?
Then when she got there, she took the jacket off and deplaned without the jacket.
Wow. Well, that's just, I mean, and that's so completely first lady like to be wearing a jacket that looks like that.
Thank you.
She was saying what she felt. She felt nothing.
Exactly. That's what I was telling everybody. This is how she boarded the plane on her way to see those immigrant children that were being held in Texas.
Well,
I've never seen no first lady do no shit like this ever.
Well, I for one am not going to talk bad about it because I've heard that several parts of her are biodegradable.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you know what? What's on her body's biohazard. If they pop, she could lose her life.
I'm thinking that they have a secret in-house plastic surgeon who's there to just touch up anything that gets out of place any second.
Because if it does, she'll die.
Yeah.
That's how dangerous that is.
But yeah, this is what she wore.
That's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but wait a minute, Sister Audrey, isn't she an immigrant too?
Yes.
You know, saying
So
that
is
she
Trump.
don't care.
Well, firstborn, second generation immigrant.
Yeah, and she's an illegal immigrant because of Trump's marriage.
That's right.
Damn. She just married him for money. She doesn't love him. She doesn't give two farts about him, and he doesn't give two farts about her either. He likes younger ones, real younger ones.
Yeah.
So the fact that she could possibly be deported from the country too, she needs to tone it down on her own rhetoric.
Yeah, they won't get rid of her.
Yeah. That's why I was like, unbelievable. But, you know, like I said, see, the Mexicans will still hate us more. But you see how these folks are sticking it to them. Trump separating them from their kids. The first lady wearing some jacket. I don't give a fuck. It might as well say I don't give a fuck. Okay. But like I said, they will hate black folks more, though. It's unbelievable. And this is so unprofessional. Even if that's how you really felt, you're gonna wear some shit like that.
I know, that's incredible. But it's a madhouse. I can't get over. It's just way too surreal, and that's why we gotta just separate and keep fighting, because this sort of reality is not acceptable. We're dealing with open-aired lunatics.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, sis, did I cut you off?
We have to understand this is also Babylon, which is a burning house, and it's
Oh, Brother KD, you're breaking up.
Yeah, you got to repeat that.
Oh, yeah, you gotta repeat it.
What I meant to say was, this is Babylon, and Babylon is crumbling.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
really.
yeah.
And in all reality, no defense, but that's an ugly ass jacket. I don't think I would wear that.
I know.
That's ugly.
That is so not. That's not. When you are even if it's the titular, you're not the real head of state. You can't really control anything. You still represent the maturity of the nation, the supposed maturity. So this is not appropriate. I don't care what the pop culture is doing. You're the head of the state. You're supposed to give people a sense of calm.
Right.
That you're not going to just act in an emotional fashion.
And
So-
you would think in such a time when, you know, the country is going through all this upheaval over this whole thing, you would think that she would, you would think a first lady would be there to kind of calm the situation. She's just throwing fuel on the fire.
Well, Sister Lisa, that's what they're going to have to do, because they wanted us to riot. They wanted us to give them smoke and cover for continuing their colonization and their evil and their viciousness, and we haven't provided that. So they have to do it themselves. They have to be the buffoons themselves.
Yeah.
But coming to think about it, Sister Anjali, I think that jacket really reflects their entire attitude all around the country.
Yeah.
They really don't care.
Yeah.
It does.
Mm-hmm.
No, they're at a level. They're at a point where they don't even care if they lose their whole infrastructure. That's how much they do not care.
Yep. So, like I said, this is just unbelievable. But hey, these are the times we're living in now, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's beautiful. We could just sit back and without hand, they're gonna destroy themselves.
Yeah.
Oh, I got a question though. I know I was in the last live stream with True Real. She was talking about like if nobody deals with the sewage system, the sewage/water management system, it could implode on itself. Yeah, that could not be good.
About 2 years ago, I read an article about the military, and this was before the opioid epidemic had really kicked in. And what they were saying about the military was that the number of new recruits and personnel that were coming in was dropping, and it was mostly Caucasoids. But what was happening was that they were saying that they couldn't find anybody that wasn't addicted to drugs.
Yeah.
They couldn't find anybody who could pass the standard test.
Yep, I did a story on that.
I remember that report you did.
Right. And so that just shows another aspect of what's happening. Their military the military isn't even strong anymore, and Trump is now trying to create another. Well, he did it. They created another branch, but yeah, they're having trouble even finding people for the military.
Well, I think a lot of people are catching on. The wars are started by the rich and fought by the poor, and a lot of people are saying the hell with that now. And not only that, you got to think about this, brother. Many Black people are not joining the service anymore. After all the police shootings and everything going on, they don't want to deal with it anymore.
I don't blame them.
They don't want nothing to do with it anymore. And how do you now, and I was reading an article too, that if America was attacked, they don't even have enough soldiers here on American soil. Our soldiers are so spread out all over the world. Even if they came back here, it's going to take them a while to get back here to defend the country.
Yeah, we're so divided inside this country that
maybe they should round up. Maybe they should round up and recruit some of these race soldiers.
Yeah, right. I think the Trump supporters should be on the front line.
Right.
They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it.
Oh no! But don't walk around trying to tell everybody else to do it like they always do.
See, the more that the information is revealed, the more truth we speak, the more obvious is that they've already lost.
Yes.
So I'm always about trying to uplift our spirits, because so many of us who are brilliant and love being Black can give in to a feeling of hopelessness. And it's really not necessary. We're watching, except for the fact that they're incredibly dangerous, we are watching a Keystone Cops episode where they're just beyond ridiculous.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Chicken with his head cut off, fluttering around until it dies.
Yeah. Yeah. The system is so messed up now. They can't fix this. They are not going to fix this mess, and they don't want to fix it. And the fact that they have let the system be this bad for so long, there's no turning it around. You can't fix this.
The fact that they stole most of that from us anyway, and then claiming that they're fixing it, they can't even fix what was even around us.
That's right.
Look, they can't even fix this system now. What is it? $30 trillion in debt.
Right.
You can't even fix it now. So no, you didn't fix us. You did not civilize us. You did not educate. You didn't do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So they basically lived off of our backs, off of our free labor, and claiming that they fixed stuff.
Yeah,
that's bullshit.
just like they're living off of our labor now through the prisons. Yes.
Yeah. If fix is not in their DNA, they don't know how to fix. They only
if anything, we taught them how to fix. If they was gonna fix anything at all,
right?
No, Sister Lisa, I don't know if you got it, but I sent you a link to a video that was that documentary about that family that walks on all fours. And they were trying
I saw that.
Yeah, they were trying to present that like that was something unusual, and they were trying to teach them how to walk upright. I was like, that's the way they were doing in the beginning, and we had to teach them how to walk.
You know what? The funny part is when you watch those men when they get on their 2 feet and they walk exactly like a chimp. You notice that?
I did.
They walk exactly like a chimp when they walk upright on their 2 feet.
Right. That's the thing. They were trying to present that like that's some type of an aberration or something. I'm like, no, that's the way you were doing.
Yeah.
How to walk and wash your ass.
Right? Oh, that's so true. But hey, the times we in, like I said, I get up and do my daily prayer for the destruction of this place, and I'm going to continue to do it.
Yes. Everybody, when I go out walking, I am having a conversation with all the life around me and tell them we have an enemy, a severe enemy. Any energy, send it out for their complete removal.
Yeah, I was laughing. I remember when that attack happened in France. I happened to be on Twitter, and it was all of these tweets going out, pray for France. I'm looking at those tweets. You know what France did in the Congo? Do you know what France has done in Africa to those people? Go back and look at the history. Those people are heinous. I wish I would pray for them.
And I think all of those attacks happening in France and also in England, I don't trust them because they're looking for a way to enact their one world government.
Yeah.
And they need to that's what the role they wanted us to perform over here. So that they could justify, we need to bring in the heavy arms and we need control and all. And it's just so ridiculous because over here they're like, get rid of all your guns. But then out in the UK, where citizens aren't allowed to have guns, you got all these knife attacks going on.
And they're also using vehicles to run people over on sidewalks and stuff. That's a big thing going on.
You got to realize that this is something with you.
Oh, I almost forgot, Sister Anjali. They're a part of Babylon too. They're crumbling just like the U.S. is.
Yeah, they're all crumbling simultaneously. Even in Australia, they're crumbling. They got a major drug problem among the whites in Australia.
Yes, they do. And in Russia too.
Yes. But see, Russia deal with their addicts harshly. Very harshly. But here they get coddled. They
got a lot of drunks in Russia. These people, they drink. They drink.
Yeah. That's very true.
Huge over there.
Oh, absolutely. And it was a black man that created the Russian language, Alexander Pushkin. His father was from Cameroon, and he is the one that invented the Russian language. The Russian that you hear them speaking today was created by a black man.
Wow.
Hey, to anyone I may have cut off, I apologize. Like whoever I done cut off by accident.
Oh no, it's okay, brother.
All right. No, it's just that anytime I kind of apologize for doing stuff like that, it'd be like you weak or whatever. I'm like,
no,
never mind.
Don't worry about it, brother. You're okay. You're with family. It makes me laugh because I did a video on like the first Americans, the first Mexicans, the first Russians, and somebody said, "You're crazy. Russians weren't black." I was like, "Oh my God, we got so many dumbass people. It's not even funny." Not only were the first Russians black, the Russians are speaking a language that was created by a black man. I mean, what more proof do you need?
I'm looking at it right now. That's right. He sure was. Wow.
Yeah, he created the language that you hear the Russians speaking today, a black man.
Black people created language, period.
Honey, every language you hear on this earth came from us.
That's right.
Every single language across this world came from us.
That's right. The most complicated, nuanced languages on the planet are African.
We created writing.
Yes, honey, science, writing, mathematics, that all came from us.
That's why they fear us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because they know that we're so powerful. So that's why they fear us. They have to keep us down because they know they cannot compete with our power on any level.
No.
Because they fear that we can create something completely new and leave them off.
But you know, KD, everything we create, everything. Look what they do to our music. You know, we created the great music, and they go in and they try to imitate it. We create dances, they try to imitate them. I mean, it's just crazy.
Yeah, well, they messed up rap. Rap is garbage now. But when rap first came out, you know, it was actually underground. And I remember when it was underground in New York.
Oh, I remember too.
And the thing is, now rap
It was very conscious.
it's garbage. It ain't no conscious music. It's garbage.
It was conscious.
Well, it was. You're right.
It was. Back in the day, it was. But today, it is pure garbage.
But Brenda, that just goes to show that we can create again. They can't.
KD, we never stop creating.
Exactly.
That's
We
what
never
I say.
stop.
That is the most Black, just universal trait amongst us is our creativity.
Yes. But see, when we did music before, because we were the ones that introduced music to America through the slave fields. You know, that's where your blues came from, your country music, all of that came directly, and gospel, all of that directly came from the slave field.
Jazz came from us. Yes.
All of it. All
Yeah.
of it. And it makes me laugh because, you know, they've hijacked rock and roll. Rock and roll was ours too.
Well, of course.
Well,
I mean, who do you think Elvis Presley was imitating when he's up there shaking his ass?
Mm-hmm.
And also, Elvis Presley was part Black too. They don't want you to know that, but he was.
That would make sense. There's something about his face that just doesn't look naturally like.
Yeah, go look that up. He's part Black.
Not that we need him, but anyway, yeah.
And so is Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah, I heard about him.
Mm-hmm. And Eisenhower.
Mm.
So Eisenhower had a Black mother.
Okay.
You know that?
There's a lot who wind up as passing and they just, you know, blend in.
So Eisenhower, hold on, I'm gonna show you her. You're gonna clearly see this is a sister. Dwight Eisenhower's mom. Now I'll share my screen. Mother. Let's see. Images. They had put the picture out, and when they realized how Black she looked, they pulled the picture. But some people still kept the newspaper, so the image can be seen. Hold on, I'm gonna share my screen so you can see what his mother looked like. But it is very obvious that this was a sister. Very obvious. And a lot of people didn't realize Dwight Eisenhower had a Black mother. I'll show her to you. Let me see if I can zoom in on this picture. I'm gonna zoom in. You get a look. This is his mom. Look at her features.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, sister. But Dwight Eisenhower was a half-breed. A lot of people didn't know it. This picture came out. What they did was, back in the day, they did this big newspaper article about the president and their parents. And then when they saw his mother, They pulled the newspapers from all around the country, but a few people had bought the paper, so you could still see the image.
Wow.
Yep, I can see that.
Yeah, her nose and her full lips and everything. That's a sister.
Oh, yes.
That's a sister. And they pulled these pictures because they didn't want anybody to see that his mother was a black woman.
And these people constantly making up stuff.
This is the mother and father of Dwight Eisenhower.
Mm.
Well, you know, one of the queens in England, you know, they all this Meghan Markle shit saying, you know, she was the first black royal. No,
she wasn't.
No, she ain't.
No, she wasn't. And plus, the Moors ruled in England. So no, she's nowhere near the first one.
That's right.
Also, Queen Charlotte, and I actually went a few weeks ago. I went to Kew Gardens and the palaces there, and I walked in that palace. It was actually the day of the royal disgusting wedding, but I walked in there, and Queen Charlotte, who was the wife of George III. I don't know if you guys heard of Mad King George.
Uh-huh.
That's who she was, his wife. She was black.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, she was.
Mulatto. She had 15 children, okay? And 15 children and didn't die. You know that's strong.
Mm.
And they have pictures. They have her painting up there. Her hair is kinky. I mean, Lisa, you can probably go find her picture, her portrait. She's got kinky hair.
I saw her portrait before. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Hang on. I could probably pull it up. It was Queen Charlotte.
Queen Charlotte. And that's who they named Charlotte. What is it? Charlotte, North Carolina. Yeah, they named Charlotte.
This is her right here.
Yeah, there's no doubt in that.
Wait. Wait, you've been not there yet. Yeah, Queen Charlotte of well, she's, yep, look at that woman.
Yeah, Mecklenburg. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yep.
Yep, that's her. Look at her.
You got Lionel Richie's kid. You got Blake Griffin. You got I'm talking about the white looking mulattoes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you
can but you have a lot of Moors that also lived in England, and they were black. So, yeah, I mean, no, they're not the first black. And you know what, y'all? I found out the crown jewels that Queen Elizabeth got, all of it was stolen from the Moors. All those crowns and everything that she's wearing, all of that was stolen from the Moors.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's all they do is steal.
That's all they do.
Mm-hmm. That's it. And they just pass it on generationally. And then when you ask for it back, they say, you're so sensitive.
Right. Or they act like you have no right to ask for it back. We stole it fair and square. Why do you want that? I don't know. My grandfather stole this, but it's mine.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they do with South Africa.
Exactly. You took the words right out of my mouth. That's what they do in South Africa. They're big time.
Wilmington, North Carolina was once predominantly black.
It was built by slaves.
It's whites there now because they stole the land, they stole the home. The white did the same thing. White mobs go in, stole the land, stole the homes. A lot of the descendants are still living, and they brought a lawsuit to get compensated for what was stolen from their families. And the white people down there are now saying, well, my grandfather said he earned this house. He got it fair and square. Well, he didn't. He stole it.
Mm.
Yeah, one of my uncles was from there, Wilmington, North Carolina. Yeah. Wilmington, North Carolina was built by free slaves.
Uh-huh.
The city was built by
predominantly white now because they had a big riot. And after the riot, they stole the black people's bank accounts. They stole their businesses, their land, their homes, everything.
Oh, may the Most High come in and just obliterate all threats to us, because I don't see it. How can you change a mindset like that? You can't.
You can't. You can't. And as I stated before, these are not the people that's going to take us to the next level, y'all. Thank the people. They can't take us to the next level. Well, I mean, if we're here for another 100 years, what are we going to get? More racism, more oppression? Get out of here. We don't need that. That's not the future.
Right.
So they can't take us to any level.
No.
They just
didn't
want
even
to
bring
take
us to this level, honey. We brought us to this level.
They just want to take us down to their level, you know.
Mm-hmm. That's it. They want to justify it. They keep encouraging. They're trying to take it to the level where it's just orgies in the streets. Because you see one story after another where they're trying to make everybody normalize to it, of people having sex in graveyards and on buses, you know, and on the airplanes. So they're just trying to get, because that's what they feel comfortable with. They don't know how to work.
They try to normalize things that are complete abominations. It's just like when you see these teachers sleeping with kids and they're smiling and laughing about it. That I wish a teacher would have did that when I was in grades. I've heard several of them say that. When I was in junior high, the teacher would have did that with me. No, because they're trying to normalize that shit.
That's right. That's right. With the TSA, with the, if you go through the past them, they get to grope you.
Yeah.
You know? It's
yeah,
like,
they're trying to normalize it, and it's that mess ain't normal.
Yeah.
It's sick.
It is.
But ladies and gentlemen, we've been on here now for about 3 hours, longer than I wanted to be on here, but we had such an conversation, I didn't stop. So we're going to go ahead and conclude this hangout. I'll probably do another one on Sunday, and I might do another one on the Sabbath, because there's something I do want to go over with those of you that are into, you know, the Sabbath and doing atonement and things like that, because there are certain things coming up, and there's a fast coming up in the month of June for Hebrews. So I'm going to go over that probably more than likely tomorrow on a quick hangout. And, you know, so we'll come together for a different purpose the next time.
Well, thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely. Everybody enjoy the rest of your evening and night.
You too.
Shalom.
Thank you. Bye.